give you a little forum shop ambiance before we get started. Oh, didn't go directly into a commercial. Look, Inception. It's a dream inside a dream. Wow. Didn't get a bra commercial. They usually like to start me off with a bra commercial. I'm okay with that. You know. Alright, let me like my video. Let me get over to live chat. Let me do some stuff. A little housekeeping here. What do you got, 30 people? Alright. Is that because it's 5:30? Did I schedule this live stream for 5:30? I don't even remember. It just made sense. But whatever. Let me say some hellos. Janice, Mary, Maria Ann kicking off Super Chat activities with the 10. Have I ever thought of getting interns to help you with business ops? That's a good question. Let's remind me. We'll circle back to that. I do appreciate the question because it is AMA Day. Ask me anything. Carol Hughes, how are you? I am doing great today. Blackie, what's up? Matt S, Sony, Bert. Yep, my favorite coffee ever. Only seconded by making some Somalian at home. And quite frankly, I do put one of these in here. I mean, if I've had like 100 carbs all week, I think that'd be a lot. I've been really non-carb. So I can, I think, let's not look at my nails because I need a friggin' manicure. Well, my cuticles anyway. Yeah, I think I could do one of those. Because there is nothing like real sugar and good coffee. I'll admit it. I'll friggin' admit it. Leonard, what's going on? That is a nice cup, isn't it? I am so ready to dive into this. Let's do it. Oh, we're a little out of kilter. There we go. Oh, that's better. Nailed it. All right. Let us begin coffee operations. And then we'll get into some AMA activity. You know, I haven't done... Wow, that's all the milk. I don't know if I should put all that in there. We haven't done, or I haven't done, well, no, we haven't done an AMA in, geez, it was September. September of last year was the last time I did an AMA. So, let's do some math. We got to do it on our fingers. December, January, February, March, April, May, 6 months ago. Holy cow. I think it was the 13th of... Yeah, I think it was the 13th of September last year. All right. you coffee... Matt says he coffees... he creams and sugars the F out of his coffee. Yeah, it can't be weak coffee. It has to be able to... You know, to stand on its own 2 feet against all the cream and sugar and sweetness and everything. And that's what I like about Somali coffee. And that's what I do like about this coffee. It can hold its own. You cannot F this up. You simply cannot F up True Bar coffee. Why do I follow the dietary vice of a Canadian psychiatrist? You think I got that from, what was it, Justin Bieber? What the heck is his name? No, I could care less what he says. I do my own research. I do my own research about everything. I don't take anyone's word for anything, and I don't suggest anyone does, even my own word. I put things out there all the frickin' time, and I always caveat it by saying, do your own freaking research. I mean, my batting average is pretty damn high, you know? I mean, let's be real, but still, it doesn't matter. Never take anyone's word for anything. Anything. But, not Somali, I keep saying Somali coffee. Forgive me. There might be Somali coffee. Sumatran coffee. Excuse me. Thanks for pointing that out. Sumatran coffee. I did not feel any type of earthquake activities. I didn't. I mean, I had to read about it. It's like 3-point-something earthquake outside of Las Vegas. I don't know. I didn't feel nothing. I have felt an earthquake in Vegas. The worst one I ever felt was, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, where I was actually inside a business I owned at that time. And it was on a concrete slab. And I was standing there, and it was very early morning. And the concrete itself, as the tremor or the waves went through the concrete felt liquid. I've literally felt myself lift and come down and lift and come down a couple of times. Like I was on like a surfboard or something, sitting in in a wake. I mean, that was weird. And the concrete didn't shatter, it didn't break, it just had that much pliability of what was under it that you could just feel it. And it felt like, on concrete. Go figure. But I didn't feel nothing on this one. I felt there was one significant one, 4 point something, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. I did feel that one. Things did start shaking and whatnot, but nothing of any great significance. This one, pretty much a non-event. If it even happened, who knows? But all I know is there's volcanoes all over the planet that are pissed off, and they're starting to spew. There's one in, let's see, there's 2 in Alaska, there's 1 in Hawaii, there's 1 or 2 in Iceland that are all spewing for some reason. Don't know. Alright, we didn't quite get the sugar right. We didn't get the sugar at all. I put 1 real sugar. Let's put some artificial dextrose in there, which is a carb. Let's get some dextrose in there. But yeah, carbs are what F's you up. I mean, I don't care whether some freaking guy, was it Justin? I don't even know his freaking name. I used to listen to him, then people get played out for me when they go down the same path over and over. Whatever. Once I get their messaging, I'm like, all right, cool story, bro. The person I do never, ever take into consideration as a source is that Dr. Berg guy. He is so far off on so many things. I mean, sue me, bro. you just are. I mean, the whole thing about taking mad quantities of vitamin D. Yeah, everyone's vitamin D deficient because they use sunscreen, which is cancerous, and they never go outside, which you don't get your vitamin D. You're not going to get it from your fortified milk, but just freaking swallowing heaps of vitamin D can confirm that that'll fuck you up. Can confirm. So, yeah, I take everything he says with a grain of salt, but yeah, carbs are what messes you up. Tell me one thing that carbs are good for. I mean, they taste good. They taste good. They're tasty, but they release some endorphins, but your body doesn't need them. Your body's not designed to run on carbs. It can, but what does it do with the excess? Turns it into frickin' beer belly, I don't want no damn beer belly. That's a product of no carbs. Flex. Granted, since I got off carbs, I lost 30 pounds of muscle mass, and I haven't really worked out since I broke my shoulder, but yeah, I mean, it was maintaining my weight, but my weight stays like, I could throw out my scale and tell you what I weigh. Just by looking in the mirror, because there's no carbs. But what is carbs? Bread, yum. Cake, yum. Cookies, yum. Potatoes, yum. It is the good stuff. It is the good stuff. I mean, let's just be honest. It's a hard addiction to quit. Pasta, rice, beans. It's hard to get by. It's hard to pass up on. But if you give a shit about your body, just try to limit it. But don't listen to what I say. I mean, you can see the results, not that I'm like, a walking anatomy chart, but I ain't fat. Everyone I know is pretty much overweight. I think every single person I know, I wouldn't say every single person, all right, let's tone that down. I'd say 95% of all the people I know on this planet and have an acquaintance or friendship with are overweight, and I'm not. So who's right? Who's right when we're comparing, apples to apples? Who's right? The people who are eating carbs or the people who aren't? is what it is. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're gonna AMA. Oh, I still got my shades on, but it looks cool, right? It looks freaking cool. How you doing? Oh, thumbnail time. Wait, I need new thumbnails. Let me flex this arm. Thumbnail. I could do that because I'm not fat. Anyway. Bam. Off they come. I need new thumbnails. I like this one that was just in this video. I used that like 5 times this month. Duh. Because I like it. But I need new ones. Alright. I do keep my good shades in a carrying case because I take pride in ownership. Alright, are we set? Let's get everything together here. Because today is AMA day. But before I get into AMA, oh, I burped, sorry. Burped again, sorry. I think I got one more. Alright, well, cool. I'm gonna invite everyone to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button, get notified when I do this again. How you doing?
Hey, I'm a subscriber.
Cool.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Awesome to meet you. What's your name?
Anthony.
Anthony. From?
Sacramento.
Sacramento,
yeah.
Cali, across the border. You want to say hello?
Yeah.
Say hello, man.
Hello.
There is. That's Anthony from Sacramento, California.
We're watching things like COVID.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna. Wow, you go old school,
Yeah.
bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. What are you wearing?
What's that?
What are you wearing?
Gucci Guilty, I think.
I was saying that's familiar. I
Really?
have Gucci Guilty also.
Really?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Am I taking a
No,
selfie?
absolutely not. Let's do it.
Cool to meet you, man.
Same here.
All right, dude. Have a good night.
Bro, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I smile on the inside. I'm not like a smiler. When I smile, it seems like either forced, like let me smile. It seems forced to me when I smile. I'm always smiling on the inside, like I'm smiling now. I smirk. All right, I smirk. And smirking is more my thing. That's my. Yeah, okay. Wait. I have to force smiles. That's weird, right? Yeah, I should have asked if he had his chat. Yeah, I guess I should. Well, some people don't want to be outed. I figure if someone doesn't have their whole name, like Bror Fredrik or whatever, you know, they want a little bit of anonymity, which, you know, I respect. It is freaking hot. Woo! And I gotta show you what I'm wearing too. But anyway, let me block. I was probably all shiny in this picture. It's warm in here. It's that time of year. It's bullshit saying that it's 93 degrees. So add 5, it's 98. I think it went up to 101 today. They were just saying chance of showers within the next half hour, which I do not believe. But yeah, next week, starting in 2 days or 3 days, it's 104 to 107 for a 5 to 6 day stretch according to the weather. And it's like, ugh. We're paying for those beautiful 70-degree weather days in May. But I'm going to invite everyone to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button, get notified when I do this again, which is at least 3 times a week as of this week. And if you want to support the channel, Super Chat while I'm live is the grease that makes the wheels roll, as well as Cash App, as well as Venmo, which are equally awesome, if not more awesome. And all the links down there, do all the stuff, and thank you. And I did smell Gucci Guilty on him, because that's a familiar smell. That's one of my older scents that I didn't throw in the waste pail, because it holds up to the test of time. Gucci Guilty, I mean, it probably goes back at least 10 years, but it still smells good, and it's very refined. And he had, the way he did it, it was right on. Like, I had to be like next to him to know. It wasn't like waft in a cloud like, you know, some of the young cats do. So, shout out to you, Anthony from Sacramento. You got your S's together. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more hellos and then we'll get into AMA activities. True Chief, what's going on? Liz Costa. All classics. What up? Kevin Hawthorne. Val Marie. I like to say Val Marie. Alright, wanted to ask if. Yeah, okay. Alright, I think I got a commercial while I was yipping and a yapping. So, yeah, I like when people come up. That's cool. I mean, sometimes I don't want to stop what I'm doing and, you know, hang out for half an hour with, you know, people. I mean, no offense against people, but, you know, kind of like the show must go on, but that was perfect. That was absolutely, he was awesome. I like that guy. And watching since COVID, that's when I started this. So Anthony's been around, a lot of you people have been around since 2020. Can you believe it's 5 years ago? 5 freaking years ago with the thing over the face. Paramom, how you doing? Jamie, Sylvia, Marta. Alright, where we at? Chris Miller, what's going on? The Wall Street Charging Bull. We're doing like a financial channel also? Cool. Alright, now we got 106 people. Let me suck down some coffee and we'll start AMAing. But I'm going to show you the threads first. Want to see the threads? Let's see the threads. Let me turn this camera around real quick. We'll see the threads. Alright, so I am wearing, I don't know if you can see this or not. I guess I got to step back far enough. And there go. I'm flexing the non-carbs. Okay, so I got my Bror Viking t-shirt on. Remember we spoke, what was it, about, I think it was the last live stream. We were talking about Pumas and old school Pumas, and I mentioned the Felix the cat Pumas. There we go. Yeah, I got this from, that was a gift from Chris and Frank. There go. There go the Felix the cat Pumas. If you look up close, you see how it's got fur. It's in the cat colors. It's got some. Oh, come on! Stop that! Hold everything. Got Felix in the back. Felix is also on the top there too. You know, Puma with the Felix, but they're spiffy, you know. You can see that they got fur on them, and they were like a limited edition. You know, this is like number 5 out of 7 million or something. You know, I don't know what their version. It wasn't like, you know, number 3 out of 50, but yeah, and they were still only like $80. You gotta love freaking Puma, and they are comfortable. They are extraordinarily comfortable. They generally size in metric or European or whatever because they're from Italy, and they're actually made in Italy, believe it or not. You know, they're not one of those Fugazi freaking import companies. They're actually made in Italy. So I take, depending on who, it's either a 42 or a 43, which is the equivalent of sometimes a 9.5, sometimes a 10, sometimes a 44, which is a 10. You know, it just depends. But yeah, Pumas are friggin' on point. And I'm getting besieged with more commercials. Total Battle Strategy game. Download now. Shut up. Just shut up. Alright. Let me get back over and we'll get into AMA activities. Marie Bell. Bill the Cat. My Boda. My Sharona. Anyone remember my Sharona? I remember during Corona, someone did a My Corona. Thank you, Bert. We are going there. We are going there. How do you pronounce that? My Boda? My. Yeah, we're going there if we run out of questions. If we don't run out of questions for this AMA, we'll get into the Trump-Musk thing, because that needs to be talked about. If not, we'll just deep dive the heck out of it, and I'll just dedicate an entire show to it, because more stuff is coming to light. It's a mudsling fest. But I think it's also a psyop, and I'll let you know why. It depends on how the questions go. It might be a publicity stunt. All right, I'll say it right up front. There's so much is coming to light. It might be a publicity stunt. It might be, I said it a long time ago, that the jury was always out for me on Elon Musk, even before he got involved in politics and Trump and all the rest of that. Like, I didn't know what to make of him. He wants to go to the frickin', where does he want to go, to Mars? I don't want to live on frickin' Mars. I don't care. Mars does not look appealing. I don't see any beach clubs. I don't see any lakes. I don't see any fishing. What the actual F do I want to live on Mars for? I do not. So I'll pass on Mars. Instead of helping the planet, we're gonna go live on Mars. Yeah, no. You know, I did mention the fact that he gets most of his money from government contracts. Did I not say that? Yes, I did. Now that's coming to roost. However, it could be a psyop, because think of it this way. The left hated, okay, we'll just touch on it briefly. The left hated him. They used to love him. Then he bought Twitter and got involved in politics and supported Trump. So then the left hated him, including his cars. Like, they were eating their own. Because most liberals were the ones buying Teslas. So they were like keying each other's cars, stupid, to hurt him. And now they love him again, because he came out and said, Trump is on the Steen Island list. He announced that publicly. He's like, oh, that's the reason why they don't want to show the flight records and all the records from Jeff you-know-who's island, because Trump is implicated, and that's why he's keeping it a secret. But that could be the biggest psyop freaking troll ever, because now the left is like, oh my God, we love Elon again. He's the best. He's going to be the one to expose Trump. We're going to prove that he was on Jeff what's-his-name's list and he visited the island and all that other shit, right? So now what is it going to do? So the left is going to force the administration to show the list. So is this a massive troll as a way to get the list public? It could be. So now, because the left was saying, no, we don't want to see that, we don't want to see that, we don't want to see that. Now they're like, yeah, being that he's on it, like if Trump said breathing oxygen is bad, would every liberal tie a freaking plastic bag around their neck and seal it off with duct tape? Just, you know, that's the mentalities. But now that they think he's implicated, now they all want to see it. So this could be the biggest troll ever. And then Trump and Elon could have a big old freaking laugh about it, because they're enlisting the left to force the public to see the list. And I want to see it. I don't care who's on it. I don't care if Trump's on it. If he's on it, F him too. I mean, let's just face it. You know, I know he banned him from Mar-a-Lago once he found out all the incriminating shit. You know, he might have visited that once. I don't care, I don't know, but it depends what he did. Just like everyone else, I don't give a shit who is on that list. They all should be tarred and feathered if they participated or knew of activities that were going on over there and sat back and watched. You notice how there's no Diddy coverage whatsoever? There's like ground-shaking stuff coming out in the Diddy trial about what took place. It's not even on the news. Not even remotely on the news. Do you trust the news? No. Anyway, so that's my take. Could be real. There are some things I do want to discuss about it. Like I said, if we don't get to it today, we'll deal with it on Wednesday. But that's my thing. It could be the most massive freaking troll ever perpetrated. The biggest psyop. The biggest 4D chess play ever. Or there's some, but I don't care. Who's ever on there should frickin' cook on this earth and the afterlife. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he might be. I mean, there might be a lot of people. Was the pilot involved? Did he know? I mean, some of the pictures, like they show the pictures from, like the 80s, that with him standing in the same hallway as Jeff and what's it, Gazelle, whatever the frickin' name is. Yeah, they show those pictures all the time, like it happened yesterday. That was frickin' 40 years ago. You know, I mean, I might have stood next to, you know, ethically, morally bankrupt people in my lifetime. Doesn't mean I had knowledge of what they were doing. I just ended up sitting next to them or standing next to them. But it is a known fact that he was banned from Mar-a-Lago. You know, guilt by association. Were they buddies? Did they share frickin' season tickets? You know, for the Knicks or whatever? I don't know. We don't know. But it could be the biggest psyop ever. So the left is they're re-embracing him, how fickle they are. They're re-embracing him because it's their opportunity to get Trump. I mean, I didn't want to get into it though. Musk is going full blown. Oh, he should be impeached. Oh, the other thing I was saying is, I know for a fact that Trump is anti-electric vehicles. He could give two flying fucks about electric vehicles, solar power, wind turbines, and the rest of it. And Elon was all about it. So there was a conflict of interest from day frickin' one, from day -1, from Trump, Elon, BC, you know? They were always at odds with that. I mean, I was always a proponent of, I say we should put nuclear power plants up frickin' everywhere. Put them everywhere, except my backyard. Put them in your backyard, not my backyard. I'm a huge fan, just because they're an eyesore, not because they're unsafe. They're safe now, you know. 3 Mile Island happened 100 years ago, but that's the free energy. And then explore cold fusion. End of story. Free power is going to free the world. We'll never have to work again if energy is for free. And AI. Anyway, how you doing? That's all I gotta say about that. So it could be the biggest psyop, but I don't care. You know, let the chips fall where they may. But this is AMA Day. Ask me anything. Haven't done one in 6 months. So here's the ground rules for AMA. You can ask me whatever you want, about whatever you want. I will not give you my date of birth, my place of birth, my home address, my credit card number, my CVC number on the back of the credit card, my social security number. What else won't I talk about? I will entertain conversations about my relationships. I will not, I don't identify or talk specifically about relationships I might be in, might not be in, have been in, will be in, may be in, because I don't want to expose people close to me to the blast radius of some ass hats that are sitting out in the audience right now. Not everyone who's watching is a fan, you know? So people are crazy, so I don't want to expose people to my blast radius. So that type of thing, you know, it is what it is. But I'll discuss relationships and, you know, interactions I've had. Well, whatever you feel like talking about. You want to talk about Vegas? Hit me up with questions about Vegas. I don't care. We'll talk about anything. Questions attached to the super chat will guarantee an answer. Not that you got to pay, but, you know, I'll be able to see them. You know, other ones just might fly by and I have to pick and choose whether it's relevant content. But if someone super chats me a question or Venmos or Cash Apps me a question, I am going to answer it. It's just the way it is. Now, today, I do not have any... Yeah, people are freaking nuts, bro. 88888. Yeah, people are nuts. You know, I don't need people in the blast radius of that, you know. I said it on Wednesday, I don't understand how, you know, people have their spouses and stuff, especially dudes, have their spouses on and they do channels together. I couldn't do that, you know. I couldn't bring, you know, my woman, my whatever, on a channel and expose her to the ferocity of men's creepiness and stuff like that. You know, I don't get it. Yes, views would be higher, especially if she showed a little cleavage and whatnot, but, you know, put her in the thumbnail. How you doing, fellas? You know, oh, you know, Bror Fredrik. I couldn't do that. Not saying that dudes use their women for views and whatnot, but they know it doesn't hurt. I couldn't do it, and I wouldn't want them exposed to being stalked and having rude comments and, that type of shit. It's just, I couldn't do it, and I won't do it. So, yeah. That being said, ask away. Let's see. There was one other thing we wanted. Oh, I did. We'll circle back because I'm not really. Hey, Anthony from Warrenton. What up? We'll circle back to that creepy dude over at, I was gonna say Bally's, but the Horseshoe, because I don't know if people truly understood what that dude was saying because he was sort of behind me and whatnot. Let's dissect that whack job that we ended the stream on over at Horseshoe on Wednesday. Let me skip the 99th commercial and start asking questions. All right, what do we got? 127 people. That's cool. And I want to go back to Maria's question because she super chatted a question. I don't see it anymore. Let me go back over to fan funding. Bonk. Oh, and Maria Leathers, thank you for the 10 Bananaramas also. Yeah, and I think I covered that, but we'll get into that more. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And of course, all super chat and whatever goes to paying for coffees and freaking ridiculous parking here. Have I ever thought about getting interns to help you in business operations? How are you? That's an easy one. I'm doing great. I'm always doing good. If I was doing any good, there'd be two of me. I'm not one of those, you know me. I'm not one of those same shit, different day, waiting to die. No, every day is great. Every day I wake up is awesome. Every day I wake up, it doesn't matter what the challenges are. A challenge to me is an opportunity to either get better or solve a problem. My world in my business life and personal life, I would say one of my number one attributes and skill sets is problem solving. Like Vanilla Ice. Yo, you got a problem? Yo, I'll solve it. I thrive on solving problems, whether how simple, complex, whether they're personal, mechanical, interpersonal, business, monetary. I love solving problems. Solving problems, it just comes natural because I could put myself on all three sides of the coin, the heads, the tails, and the edge, to come up with the truth. I just love problem solving. So my days are just, even if they're problematic, they're opportunities to learn, grow, change, inspire. I take them as opportunities, not as, yeah, I'm a fixer. I fix stuff. I was introduced like that once in a business meeting. They're like, who's this? He fixes stuff. and the other party, we don't do business with them much anymore, but they were just like, oh. I didn't try to, in some cases it's true. I didn't try to negate that because, I want, just like a lot of people automatically assume I'm a cop. Like some people like, hey boss, like they automatically because of the hair or whatever. I don't discourage them thinking that, I'm just like, what up? What cell block are you in? I'm not going to discourage people from what they want to think as long as it's not negative. Let's see, what else? All right, let's get to questions. So, the question, would I ever hire interns? Yes and no. There's a lot of liability involved in internship, and I don't believe in internships back in the day, which I'd consider 20 years ago, I did bring on some interns in one of the businesses. I've owned and operated and ran 13 businesses in my life. Not just the photography or whatever. I've owned and operated and sold 9 out of the 13. I took over a couple that I made investment in. They failed to pay. I had to end up taking over the business, turned it profitable, flipped it. Yeah, so I've had a lot of business experience, and in some of them I've had interns, but some of them were like qualified interns where they came from college and from high school and you had to do the bookkeeping and all the rest of that shit. Nowadays, it would be, if I were to take on an intern, they would have to impress the shit out of me. It would be a bridge. It wouldn't be about free labor per se, and a lot of people use internships as free labor. For me, it would be about giving people opportunity, exploring what the labor pool is out there, bridging from that position into a permanent position, and the whole criteria would have to be impress me with something. You know, just don't show up, impress me with something, build something, show me something. Like, you know, dive into frickin' Bolt.com and rebuild Salesforce. You know, rebuild an internal version of Salesforce for me. That's what I would have an intern do to bridge to something, you know, profitable. Bridge into a venture, into employment. I wouldn't just like have them around for the sake of making my life easier, because that's not fair. You know, are they really gaining experience by, you know, picking up my dry cleaning? Not really. I'd test them. There would have to be some type of test involved. You know, build something, show me something, analyze my business, and tell me how you think it can be improved. And I'll keep you as an intern for 60 days, and if you blow me away with something, it'll lead to employment. That would be the only way I would engage with an intern. Would I gain something out of it? Yes. Would they gain something out of it? Yes. However, it would also show me their character. Would they do that? You know, would they seek to impress me? How bad do they really want it? You know, like not just the guy at the horseshoe reminded you of the blood. Yeah, that guy was out there. Phil, what up, bro? That guy was out there. He was spiritually dirty. He was spiritually and a little physically, but mostly spiritually dirty. I mean, he had some, I would go as far as to say, I mean, you're not supposed to biblically, but there was potential for him having some demonic issues going on. And I think the light that I was giving off was pissing off his freaking demons and whatnot, but they were looking to climb all over me, but I wasn't having that shit. I had a nope. We'll talk about that later. All right, questions. Flashback question, Bror, from Linda. With graduations and proms on the way, did you and your classmates and friends have any traditions or pranks? No. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and if you Google Earth his house, Google Earth satellite flew over the day after they TP'd his house on, like the kids' friends TP'd the house, or the football team TP'd the house on graduation night. So it's memorialized from frickin' space, his house being TP'd, which is crazy. You know, you look at it and you're like, what the heck is all that? It's like, oh, they took a picture of my house being TP'd. It's funny. We didn't do things like that. I went to a very, those of you who know me, I went to a very, I went to a rough high school. I went to a rough high school. Rough. Yeah, it was bad. There was no friendships per se. There was no after parties. We didn't even have a prom. We did not have a prom at all. It was just, there was 6,000, it was almost 7,000 students altogether in my high school. So much that they had to do a split shift. I went from 6 a.m. to 10:30 and 10:45, I think it was, 10:45 or 11, depending on the class. Yeah. And then the other, then another shift came in. So cumulatively, it was 7,000 people. They didn't do proms. It wasn't small. I did go to like my 8th grade graduation and things like that. So I never really got to enjoy, like the rest of the world, I never got to enjoy the traditions, the traditional traditions and sights and sounds and all that other stuff of high school. High school to me was about survival. High school to me was navigating it so I didn't get jumped. High school to me was I had to take two city buses at freaking 4:30 in the morning to get to my high school. It was strictly a game of survival. It was like, when do I go in the freaking locker room, and not get robbed? I mean, that was back when people would like jump you to steal your sneakers. That's why people wore Skips. The people who wore Converse, you can get jumped for your freaking Converse, back then. So you wore Skips to not. So I never got the pleasures of the true high school experience. But it taught me a lot about life, and it taught me how to fight. It taught me how to take a punch, hence the nose. I guess it was a valuable experience in different ways. But yeah, never got the true experience of, the bonding and who's going to what college. It was more like, who's going to what freaking prison. Jamie, are you planning on moving from Vegas within the next 10 years? Probably. That's a good question. Yeah, I would say probably. I mean, I cannot see myself. I do not want to grow old in the desert, in casinos. I mean, I got to get back to the surroundings that make me comfortable, which is either the Pacific Northwest or the New England Northeast. It's one or the other. I mean, Florida is always an option. I love Florida, but I love Connecticut, New York, Maine, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire. Like, I love New England. I love New England, except Rhode Island. I got to be back with lakes and trees and leaves changing. And the Pacific Northwest is okay, except for the wacky politics. Not that there's wacky politics in the Northeast. I just know how to navigate them a little more. But dying out in the desert, I can't picture it. Oh, scatter my ashes at the Bellagio fountain. If anything ever, no. I mean, when we're talking 10 years, we're talking about like retirement at that point, or close to. Although I do plan on retiring, I'll never be out of business. I'll always be investing. I'll always have my finger in something. But the daily grind and the hustle and the 80-hour weeks, I still say by Christmas of 2030, that is my plan. Christmas Eve of 2030 is my planned retirement from the grind, from the hustle, from the rat race, not business, because I love business. I love the business of business, it's just part of me, and I'm good at it. But yeah, I don't plan on dying in the desert or living forever. You don't know how I feel right now. You have no idea I can't describe it. Like the weather change. Like a month ago it was in the 70s and it was in high 50s at night and all this stuff. You don't know how I feel now. Now it's just like a it's like a daily disappointment to wake up to 100 degrees for me in my world. It's just like, again. And there's 5 months of it. I mean, I tend to forget about it because there's anywhere from 5 to 7 months of beautiful weather here. 5 to 7 months of beautiful weather. And then 4 to 5 months of absolute shit weather. In my opinion, you guys, some of you psychos out there love freaking hot weather. I don't know why, but I almost forget about it. And then one day it's just like, damn. What the actual F am I doing, But, no, I would say within the next 10 years, I would like to be a snowbird in the next 10 years. Someplace in the north and someplace in the south, or someplace in the north, and I'll keep my place here, or something like that. Yeah. Are we doing good on connection? The mall connection wasn't good. I'm connected to the True Bar connection. Let's see. But living in upstate New York, sure we get snow, but it's better than a roof house flat. Yeah, exactly, Linda. Northeast Ohio is absolutely awesome. Jeff, do I ever worry for my safety being an influencer? 100%. 100% I do. That's why I was talking earlier. I would never, let anyone know about any relationship that I had, even a past relationship. I would never identify or whatever, because I wouldn't want them in the same position that I am, which is psychos. I mean, I've come out to people waiting for me in situations that I wasn't exactly comfortable with. People are nuts. People are nuts. I mean, even people like you can be nuts, but there's other nuts that are just plain freaking nuts and dangerous. Yeah, I never walk straight to my car. Never walk straight to the vehicle, ever. I walk past it. I look back at another vehicle. I don't click it like 100 paces in advance so everyone knows. No, I make sure I'm not being followed at all times. When I leave here right now, I will make sure I'm not being followed by anyone. I will double back, I will pause, I will do all the things, because people would love to, I do. I'll fake what car I happen to be in until I know for sure that I am not being followed. And even after I leave, I don't take the same routes home. I do, if someone turns with me more than twice, this is just me. It's always been me. If someone takes not like, they get off of the exit and we both make a right. If we're on side street levels shit, if someone turns from, Flamingo to, Durango or something like that, and then from Durango, over to what, that doesn't bother me. But once we get into a little bit of the side street activity, any more than 2 turns, on the 3rd turn, I'm pulling over. I am pulling over on the 3rd turn. Or I will just make the 4th turn just to see if the number 4. If number 4 comes up, I'm stopping. And I'm looking. Yeah, so I do. That's just me anyway. I never get directly into my car. I always walk around it. Always walk around my vehicle, make sure there's not anyone sitting in the back seats. I always get into my vehicle from the back, never the front. Never ever the front, because if you approach your vehicle from the front, you have to open the door this way, and you have to walk around your own door think about this. You have to walk around your own door to get into your vehicle. So if someone wanted to prevent you from getting into your own vehicle, all they have to do is kick the door, because you're walking around the door in order to get into your car. Never do that. These are just safety things that you learn over time. And I used to do some PS type work, back in the day. So I always approach from the rear of the car. That way I can open it in, slam. Open it in, slam. You come from the other side, open it, walk around it, redo your hand position, get in and close it. There's too much time for someone to stop. You always got to make sure there's no zombies in the back and everything. Or someone, like some freaking guy with a karate or whatever, we watch enough movies, right? So I do get concerned. I do protect myself. I'm very cautious, I run into people all the time. Like I said, I got trolled by those, I'm pretty sure I got trolled by those high whatever troller dudes, walking out of Bellagio. So, what if it was by my vehicle? Would they have, if they ran into me there and decided to, hey, can we film? And then my vehicle's in there too. I got to be extraordinarily cautious. In my position, I'm freaking nobody. What do I got, 100 people watching? BFD. But yeah, I am cautious. I'm very cautious about having a public persona. And I also have opinions about things. And people don't like that shit either. But yeah, you got to be careful about them zombies in the back. What is that? One of the 3 rules? Cardio. Look out for zombies in the back. Whatever that movie was. All right, I saw a 20 Bananamas From Miss Google, how you doing? I need recommendations for where to have a wedding in Las Vegas. Not me, a family member. In terms of a venue or a chapel type place or an after party, let me know that and we'll circle back and we'll get there. You're very welcome, Jamie. I love answering questions. We all love you and don't want bad things to happen to you. Well, I do appreciate that. That's cool. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, let's get these questions going. I remember the conversation we had about the we talked about the whack jobs around here. Zombieland. Yeah, Zombieland was the movie. All right, let's get some more questions. There are way too many nuts on this planet. Mr. Gumballs, yeah, I gotta get the second coffee's always the best. Gotta get Mercedes in the house. She's got the dual pigtails on this time. One pigtail on that side, one pigtail on that side. Handles. Alright, let's scroll back. I know I probably missed a bunch of questions. Of all the businesses, Stephen J., what's going on? Of all the businesses I've owned, do I have a favorite one? I mean, I can say I think I had the most exposure to the most amount of people in the photography video world, and it's something that I truly loved. I mean, I love what I'm doing now too, because I can fully explore my ability to problem solve. I mean, that's basically, the gist of what I do, problem solving, and personal interactions and whatever. Favorite, I mean, they were all, what would have been my favorite? The cigar bar was cool. I think I am considering one of the businesses, the radio show, because that was a business. That was a full-time job, having a 2-hour radio show twice a week. That was a full-time job, between negotiating, lining up guests, because everything was manual back then. That was a lot of work, and that was a lot of fun. It really was. It was an experience. It was an experience, a lifelong memory level experience. That was before Vegas that was before social media and accessibility. Having a show in Vegas a radio show in Vegas had a lot of clout. It had a lot of pull. It had a lot of people like, oh, you do. I mean, it was rather a big deal, and I was treated like a big deal, which is kind of cool too. But yeah, that was fun. But all the rest have been just business. Love them all sort of equally. But I think, like I said, the most exposure that I've had to the variety of individuals, of personalities, of nationalities, of sexualities, of all the varieties of human beings on this planet came from photography and videography. So I got my most exposure to humanity and learned a lot, because I do consider myself a student of humanity. So yeah, that was the most exposure, from corporate to, to funerals. I've seen everything from the corporate end of things, doing photo shoots for Jordache and Rolex and all the rest of that, Better Homes and Gardens, all the way to people's funerals. I've seen the best of man, the worst of mankind. Yeah, that was, yeah, I would say that was the most rounded, I would say. Yeah, shout out, yeah, Angry Swede, and yeah, seasonal changes, that's what I miss here. I miss seasonal changes. I can't tell you. My favorite season is fall. Spring, whatever. Spring's like poking the bear to me. Okay, all right, bro, that 100-degree weather's coming. Fall is just like such a graceful, it's a relief, just a welcome relief from the heat, and just like, oh, now you get the smells, the sights, the sounds, the apple cider, the surf fishing, the rustling of the leaves, and just a graceful slide into the holiday season. And fall, to me, is the best. The best. Alright, let me find some more questions. Questions. Come on, peoples. Hit me up with questions. I get ads, just black screens. I don't play anything. Really, that's weird. 88888. Kathleen, I'm from Destin, Florida. How you doing, Kathleen? Have you ever been to the Neon Museum? Yes, I have been to the Neon Museum about just after the shutdown. I have a personal bone to pick. So, you know, we all view life through our own lens. So if I say I had a shitty experience at the Neon Museum, that does not mean you will. It just depends on the lens at which I look through. The lens by which I look through is I brought like a real camera, and they jumped out of the sky to stop me. They're like, oh my God, that's a real camera. You're not allowed to use that here. Blah, blah, blah. You know, they gave me shit about the camera. So I'm like, well, if I put it in the bag, can I use my cell? I can take just as good of pictures with the cell, but they're like, yeah, that's acceptable. But now that we know you're a photographer, I'm like, how do you know what are you talking about? Because of the gear, you know? I mean, it was a DSLR D850, but you know, and I got the lenses, I'm creating bokeh and whatever. But yeah, they jumped on me like, you know, like flies on shit. So yeah, and then they told me, oh, if you want to come in here and photograph, it's gonna cost you, I think it was $300 or $350, and then I gotta show them the pictures, and they have rights to it as well, and they're gonna make sure that I don't monetize any. Like I couldn't make a dime from them. You know, they would own the copyrights to them. I was just like, eat a bag. You know, eat a bag. Just stop. But overall, as a tourist, that's my lens on that. As a tourist, I think it's freaking awesome. I think it's awesome. Bring comfortable shoes. But I think it would be awesome to see that. Go at night. During the day, it's okay. I went at dusk. They light most of them up. It's Vegas history, you know. It's rather beautiful. I can't say no. But through my lens, they can eat a bag. Yeah. Now, let me see if I missed any super chat questions. No, I did not. I'm ready for this next coffee. Come on, girl. I gotta see if I can mentally summon her over. No, I'm not undressing you with my eyes. I'm summoning you. Oh, it worked. It worked. It worked. I think it worked. Wait, hold on. I think it worked. I had it for a second. I was doing some Vulcan, you know, some frickin', you know, some Vulcan stuff, some Spock mind games. Not Jedi mind tricks, because F Star Wars. If Star Wars and Star Trek had a fight, who would win? And then you throw in, like, the winner would have to fight Battlestar Galactica. But I think Battlestar Galactica would get trashed. A couple of photon torpedoes, some quantum photon torpedoes, Battleship Galactica would be a pile of dust. Millennial Falcon versus the Defiant. Defiant all day. Right, my mind trick is not working. Oh, I think I had to put my fingers on her face. I have to do one of those. Yeah, I clean my lips, so. What is the best thing that happened to me this week? Says Angie. Star Trek wins every time, right, Chris? You know the deal. There's a photon torpedoes, some temporal torpedoes. Star Trek don't have no temporal torpedoes that can go through different freaking dimensions. Let's see. What is the best thing that happened to me this week? That is a good question. I was using a laptop. This may sound stupid, but I was using a laptop that was ancient. It was so old that I couldn't really buy memory for it. That I was using a SD card pushed into the side to augment the energy, and it was like chewing on tinfoil. I used it for bill paying and a couple other things. It wasn't networked into my network. It was isolated. And what kind of mind trick do you got, bro? He mind tricked her over. Ah, now I got a mind trick her over. Oh, she's playing hard to get. But I want to get my coffee. And I finally, and I had another laptop I was using it for streaming in the other studio. And finally I got around to switching it. I mean, it would take like 5 seconds for the mouse to freaking respond to things. It was so freaking slow. I just didn't get around to it. And this week I got around to it. I got around to transferring all the data, saving all the passwords, doing all the stuff, like, you know, taking all the shit out of the document, which took forever. That thing was so slow. It probably had like a 5400 RPM freaking hard drive, and it had 4 gigs of memory. 4 gigs of memory. Running Windows 10. Windows 10 needs freaking 8 just to stay alive. You know, I had to transfer all the images, I had to transfer all the documents. It just took forever. And as of 2 nights ago, I worked it. And I put an additional screen on it, and I wrote a little script to wake it up with my mouse or the keypad and put it back to sleep. If you press star, S, star, Windows star, US, you put your computer to sleep. Yeah, that may sound dumb, but it was monumental in my world. That was monumental. Do you recommend the dentist that helped me, and did you ever say their business name? No, I did not. That was an interesting journey towards the end. I would, at this point, I wouldn't recommend them just for the sheer fact that they do not do that work anymore. They went full-blown into the cosmetic end of surgery, where me, it was, you know, they reconstructed my face. You know, they peeled back my friggin' tongue and put it back in, and they did some reconstructive, they did some emergency surgery. You know, they did do, you know, a bunch of implants and stuff, but yeah, they don't do that anymore. And the other thing they don't do regular stuff. They don't do cleanings, they don't do this. They just strictly focus, you know, are now focused on cosmetic work. That's it. You know, like, you know, veneers, and all they do is to make you look pretty. They don't do anything else anymore. Because I did go back to them, and I did recommend someone I knew had cracked a tooth, and I'm like, bro, just you need to get an implant. That freaking root canal bullshit and all that, that's actually unhealthy to do root canals. It's far more healthy to do implants. Cost about the same. But he called them up, and they were like, nope, we don't do one-offs. You know, we just want to, like, give you a Hollywood smile and shit. They told me at the end that people actually pay them to rip out all their freaking teeth and do all implants. And young people, like people under 30, do that. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of, I mean, that was one of the most, having that facial surgery was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. And to volunteer to do that, but no, I couldn't recommend them at this point because they don't even do it. She is looking over. All right, have you ever been back to South Point since your bad experience? No, I cannot say that. I did go one time, and they did it was maybe like 2-3 years ago when they did they had like the Budweiser Clydesdales and whatever, you know, marching around that place. And I did go down there to shoot them. And I did have one customer. It was one of the last photography jobs I ever did and got paid for. they wanted me to go down there and shoot their horse. And I went down there and I shot their horse. But yeah, I had some really negative flashbacks about that, about South Point. They could eat a bag all frickin' day. They could eat 2 bags of these. They could choke on a bag of these. Yeah, they were not nice to me. I mean, to the point of, you know, I felt like calling the cops. I felt like being the one to call the cops at that point. I just wanted to go. No, I would never step foot in that place, ever. And I know a lot of people love it, and they got cheap food and all the rest of that stuff, but no. But that's the lens in which I have to look through it, so they could eat a bag. Whatever happened to the wonderful Chris McCarry, wonderful FLM hotel kiosk? Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, I remember those. I enjoy your candor and soul of the earth. Thank you, I appreciate that. They used to have an FLM in Meadows Mall. In Meadows Mall. Now it's like, I wouldn't go to Meadows Mall. You'd probably get robbed or killed or something. Anyway, Meadows Mall it's not even North Las Vegas, Alta and Decatur or whatever the heck it is. They had one there, and that was a normal thing. Whenever I was in there, I used to go to that FLM spot, and you could buy chocolate by the pound. You could buy like a quarter pound, and they just put the bag out, you know, and I'd be like, oh, one of those, oh, give me a chocolate covered cherry. I remember that. I like FLMs. Yeah, but they're gone too. I don't know what happened to them. South Point, right after they opened, I went down there I filmed every property on the frickin' strip if you go back in time. And, you know, I considered it a public service, you know. It opened, I was doing news, and that was the genesis of the channel, because I had to give up the business at that time because it was deemed unnecessary, thanks to the governor, non-essential. So I was doing all the openings. You know, this casino, like the first casino that opened in the entire town was Palace Station. I was there for their opening. I was there for all their openings. I was there for, the only one I had a problem with was Planet Hollywood. Planet Hollywood, you know, kicked me out. And I saved all that on film. They could eat a bag too. Planet Hollywood, F you. They never apologized. I mean, they were wrong, because I had permission. I had permission from and it's in the video. I had permission from so many people to be there. They're like, come on in. And then one security guard had a bug up their ass and just gave me a hard time. So they could eat a bag. Yeah, so I went down there, and, you know, I was doing my thing, you know. Well, and again, I asked permission when I walked in there. Hey, you know, I'm here for your opening. I want to look around, this, that, and that. And they're like, absolutely, come on in. You know the rules. Just stay away from the floor. You know, you can't film the cage. Duh. You know, that's just a given in town. I've always known that. And then I basically got jumped by a bunch of freaking people, and they were like, give me your phone, because, you know, I was using not this gimbal. Give us your phone, give us your password. We want to delete the footage off your phone. And you know what reaction I had to that? Eat a bag. You're not accessing my phone. Give us your phone. Like, they detained me and wanted my phone so they could delete it. I was like, screw you. Number one, I'm here to help you. Number two, I got permission from them guys, so, you know, apologize to me. You know, if they're misinformed, that's your problem, not my problem. But they said, go right in, have fun, enjoy. And then they want to take my personal property and delete shit, my content off it. Well, that's ours. No, it's not. Even if it was, I didn't delete it. I saved all that shit. I uploaded it in 5 different places because they could eat a bag. You know, to protect myself. I got the guy who's like, come on in, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they were assholes. They were assholes on an epic level. Yeah, Kathleen, it was, getting that facial surgery was bad. I mean, they cut away the skin from the inside of my mouth and stitched it to the side of my mouth before stitching it back. There was one time where I could freaking lick my eyebrows with my tongue because it wasn't really attached to much. It was pretty serious reconstruction. Yeah, it was a trip. How's the former Mirage doing? They are cranking. I think on Wednesday night we'll go out there and look. They are cranking. It's pretty high. I might, even though I don't want to do videos other than live streams because I like interacting with everyone. Yeah, the Mirage security, I was detained at the Mirage too. Like legitimately, there's a video, I was detained at Mirage. They were assholes, but doing their job nonetheless. But these people just like, give us your phone. You're not leaving here until we have to be the ones that delete it. I'm like, no. Anyway, but they are cranking. That thing is several stories high, the structure. Let's see, last time I went to the Beatles. Yeah, exactly. It's Caesars. Alright, come on, more questions. The commercials stopped, thankfully. So did my coffee. I think I have to get up. I think the Vulcan mind meld did not work on her last time too. I think she has immunity to my powers of suggestion. Let me see. Let me try one more time. She's immune. She's immune, or she's playing that she's immune. Alright. So keep coming up with some questions. Let me check Super Chat, see if there's any Super Chat questions. I am actually going to have to go out there and say, how you doing? And how are you, Angie? Thank you for the question. What was that? Yeah, and you know, for those of you who don't know about surgery, real quick, I never had, there's a space under your tongue. Your jaw is shaped like a jaw. Duh. And it's a U. It's a U. I had a Tory bone condition where my jaw was shaped like a U, but it was solid. If you were to press here, on most people, if you pressed here, if you stuck a pin, let's say a hairpin 3 inches long, if you stuck a hairpin up here, you would see it come up, you know, because it's hollow. You know, that's called your soft palate down underneath your tongue. I didn't have a soft palate. I might have been born with one. I was born with quite a few birth defects, and I guess that was one of them. So they went in and drilled out the U to the soft palate because it was pressing against my teeth, and it was causing my teeth to I was having tooth issues. So yeah, they recreated a soft palate, and in order to do that, and they had to do it on the top too, they had to peel back the skin of my palate, top and bottom, expose the bone, and go in there with various tools and Dremels and shit. It was freaking medieval. I have pictures of it. It was absolutely medieval what they had to do. And then they put me back together. And they're like, all right, come see us next week. And I'm just like, yeah. I got pictures. It was mid-freaking evil. I'm going to go talk to our girl here. I don't have a choice in the matter. You want to see? We'll see. We stayed at Bellagio. What is my opinion of the Bellagio? Yeah, those photos were a trip. You know, someone accused me. Remember someone was like, oh, you know, that was a bunch of BS. You probably just had a filling done. You're just trying to, you know, all this other type of stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, you want to see some pictures? And they're probably like, oh, that's Photoshop. Yeah, no, it was traumatic. It was bad. It was bad. All right, let's go see our girl. Let's go see our girl. I got my Felix the Cat shoes on. I think she wanted me to come up and see her. Oh, I'm finally getting a bra commercial. I was waiting for my bra commercial. Oh, see how those entered the room before she did? Up to a 3-inch difference. Ooh, no way. What is that, smooth? What do we got going on here? Yeah, 2 thumbs up. All right. Okay. And it's a pretty fancy Brazilica. It's breathable. No way. It doesn't slip. Ladies, we love when women adjust their bras. Am I wrong, fellas? Am I freaking wrong? No. My thoughts on Bellagio. I like the Bellagio a whole lot. They're sweet. Their regular rooms are kind of average. Yeah, Chris. The surgery was not pleasant. The regular rooms are okay. The length of walk that you have to do to get to your room sometimes is a little off-putting, but as a whole, I like the property. They give me the run of it. They are, out of all the properties in town, they are the kindest to me. I think I know the most people in them. They're the most respectful towards me. Outside of this place we're sitting in right now, I'd say those are the most gracious to me. I mean, they don't give me free room or this or that, but I know the people there. I've been going there a long time. I like the Bellagio. I truly do. The regular rooms are unimpressive. So if you're just going to go in there and just say, oh, I'm not going to... Once you get past the standard room, that's some beautiful rooms. They have beautiful rooms. But the standard room is just like... I mean, it's not bad. But it's like, but there's the Bellagio. Isn't everything plated in gold? It's not in the standard rooms. You got to spend a little more to experience the luxury that Bellagio has to offer. They have a lot of standard rooms, which is why they're always full all the time, Yeah, that place, the occupancy rate is pretty high at the Bellagio because of their standard rooms. But the standard rooms aren't like, whoa, no way. They're just like, cool, nice room, bro. I mean, they're not bad. They're just like, nice, cool. All right. Coffee number 2. That's how delayed I am. I'm still on the Brazilica commercial over here. What is up with that? All right, there we go. Live. All right. Let's get, I'll get my shit together here. Get this one ready to exit. Bring in the next one. Second coffee's always the best. I think I do have one more of the raw sugars. I bring my own sugars and shit. I think there's one down there. Bonk. Okay. And get some more questions together. I need more questions. I want to answer questions. I'm adjusting stuff. Alright. You want, Chris K, you want some money on this trip? Cool. You got a craft dinner commercial? I got a bra commercial, you got a craft dinner commercial. If you wear the right kind and size, you shouldn't have to be doing much adjusting. I think some women adjust on purpose because they know all us guys are just like... There is something quite attractive about watching a woman, adjust and figure all that stuff out. Maybe it's just me. Just saying. Yeah, the right size is important. They did that on Equalizer, the movie, yeah. Oh yeah, like they did that in Viking. They did that in what do you call it? Duh. Why am I losing it? What's it friggin'? Walking Dead. Walking Dead was always where they took the blade and they shoved it up through the soft palate and it goes into the brain. If life was that easy, it is not. There is no path that goes straight from here. I mean, it could. You have to. The top palate is not a soft palate, but I still had a Tory bone issue up there. There's no straight path that if you go through here, it goes straight into the brain. That doesn't happen, but yeah. Love it. Oh, look at that. Right in my little setup there. Perfect. Thank you. She knew where to put it. She put it right into my little setup here. Alright, we're going to do one real sugar. I'll show you pictures. You want to see pictures? They might freaking... they might shut down the thing. I got pictures on my phone. They're slightly gruesome. Okay. Nah, you don't want to see gruesome stuff. Just look up Tory bone surgery. They had two kinds. For double the price, my entire facial surgery, reconstruction, Tory bones, the implants that they had to put back in after they removed the Tory bones and all the rest of that shit, was a little over 20,000. It was like 22K. But they did that manual, which, oh, they even stacked those nice. Good job. It was a little over 22K. Then, you know, like teeth are an option. Teeth are cosmetic in America, which I think is bullshit. What are you gonna do? Drink through a straw the rest of your life? Go around with freaking tooth pain until you die? Yeah, it's elective. No, I think it's a right to have good teeth. Anyway, there was two ways of doing it. I got an estimate for laser. Like, laser is the same thing. They still have to cut all the skin. They disconnected whatever that guitar string is under your tongue. They had to sever it and stitch it back later. And then when they were done, they stitched my tongue with 4 stitches in the corner of my tongue to the bottom of my mouth so it wouldn't come up, because they wanted that thing to heal, like that snake thing where the saliva comes out of. Yeah, it was pretty freaking serious. A lot of you guys remember that. That was some painful shit. You ever get a shot when they put the Novocaine in the roof of your mouth? Now picture them cutting it open and exposing bone. So there was two ways. For 22K, they were going medieval. Hammers, chisels, mallets, pliers, nail pullers, axes, shovels, whatever it was, they were going to town. For $38,000, I could have had it done with laser, where they do the same rip-out procedure, but they go in there with laser and they laser the bone and everything out. It probably would have been less painful. It probably would have been, I don't know, maybe it was better. Maybe they would, you know, I still think my voice is different. I still think I look different. I mean, I honestly do. If I look at myself now and I look at myself 5 years ago, 4 years ago, before I had that done, I look different and I sound different. My voice had a different, I had to learn how to talk again. I had to learn how to talk again. But by doing this, I spent hours, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, 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 B. I spent hours to learn how to talk again. It was pretty freaking serious. But yeah, I just couldn't swing 38 grand. You know, it was 16,000 cheaper to have a guy go freaking full bore freaking medieval on me. And just, I mean, literally with hammers and chisels. Hammers and freaking chisels. I got pictures. Let me see. I should pull. I don't even know how. I don't even think I have. Oh. Wait. Hold everything. Getting closer. I thought I did. Maybe I did. Oh, we're there. Oh my god. That was me with my face completely swollen. Oh, yeah. All right, for those of you who got weak stomachs, turn away right now. They tried putting me to sleep, but it didn't take. They gave me the, the gas, and they put the thing up my nose, and they would just, like, breathe deep. I was snorting that stuff like my life depended on it. I was like, I was huffing that like it did nothing. I was basically, for all intents and purposes, awake. The Novocaine did help, but I never went to sleep. It didn't matter how much of that stuff. They had me on the monitor for my heart and all that other stuff, and they trickle it. Didn't do nothing. I mean this was like later on that day. It was bad. It was friggin' bad. It was bad. It was messed the F up. I got more. I'm not gonna show you all those pictures. There was one picture of I wouldn't mind showing. Let me see if I could find it. Dental tools. I got a picture of the tray of medieval shit, like I was watching Vikings and they whipped out that, that roll of like torturous frickin' things that they were gonna use on that dude to uncover the conspiracy, the Judith, and yeah, it was like the creepy tools and whatever. That's not tools. Yeah, that was kind of trippy. Hammers, chisels. Why am I doing this? Forget about that for now. Alright. Let's talk about something else. I had upper tori removal April 4th. You did. I was under anesthesia. I woke up doing certain. Yeah. Oh, Chris, so you know the deal. It is seriously, it's unpleasant. It's unpleasant. Tori bone. Because what happens with tori bones, they start, why you would want tori bone surgery. You put it off as long as possible. You probably don't know you need it for quite a while. But the issue becomes they start pushing against your teeth, against the roots of your teeth, and they start actually pushing rearranging your teeth. And once it starts rearranging your teeth, it has to go. And from my days of fighting, I did have a number of root canals and crowns and all that other shit, and it started pushing all my teeth all out. And I mean, basically, it starts rejecting your own natural teeth from your body, from your jaw. And once that starts happening, and it led to a massive infection, I went, septic, and I was live streaming when, from the frickin' when it first happened. I was just like, uh-oh, I think I'm dying. I was live streaming. Uh-oh, this sucks. Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Let's do some, it's the most unpleasant thing. What make and model and color was my first car? That is a good question, Mark. That I can divulge that. It was obviously used. It was a 1976 or 74 Monte Carlo with it was red with a white Landau roof. Would spin out bucket seats. Like you hit the lever on the side and the seat would shift and you'd exit stage left, and it had Kragers on it. Big old friggin' mags with Kragers on it, and had a 350. Yeah, that was a cool car. I'm never into red cars or whatever, but it was pretty freaking cool. I've had lots of cars in my lifetime. Probably, well over 20, easily. But yeah, that was my first vehicle. Was a Chevy Monte Carlo. I was the shit. it fit Brooklyn. It did not stand out in the sea of other, Guinea cars. I can say that. I was raised by Italian. How often do I eat at fast food places? Never. Never. I probably haven't eaten fast food on purpose a couple of years now. And prior to that, I would only eat... Oh, my range for today, my waking range for my pulse is 79 to 131. 131 was a walk in there through the friggin' parking garage. Orange SS Camaro. I had a 1979 SS Camaro. It was pretty good. That car was a freaking lemon. Anyway, that's the first commercial I had in a while. That's crazy. Thank you, I appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, it was, like I said, I don't think I look the same, I don't think I sound the same, but all in all things considered, A, I'm alive, because I was septic, and B, alright, I'm good with that. But fast food, no, I just don't eat it. I just don't. I don't find anything redeeming about it. I love my body. I know too much about what they do with that food. There might be DNA from God knows what, including humans in most of it. There was just an analysis done of Taco Bell, and it contains one of the same chemicals in it as rotting fish, and it disrupts your endocrine system. I mean, fast food is so bad for you. It's so unbelievably bad for you. And prior to maybe my few years of not eating fast food at all, just because it just gives me the skivats, I think about fast food and I'm like, skivats, I'd rather not eat anything than eat fast food. McDonald's, Chipotle, I don't care who it is. Just the idea, the amount of humans that have been touching that before it was put on my plate makes me freaking ill. I mean, I think about that when I'm in a nice restaurant, including Bavette's too, but, you're with company, out of sight, out of mind, this type of stuff. And, they're cooking it, but no, fast food can eat a bag. I mean, smoking is probably healthier than eating fast food. I mean, I think we all know that. The chemicals, the dyes, just a level of crap that's in there, and it doesn't matter which one. And prior to my totally being so grossed out, it grosses me out, the concept of eating fast food. It grosses me out. It's just like, before that, I would only eat French fries. That was it. That was, in my opinion, that was the least manipulated, the least touched. At least I know whatever cooties were on it, once it sank in the oil, it pretty much eliminated whatever parasites and crap might be in there. I was pretty confident about that. Wow, the whole family here. And I would eat French fries. And it was cheap, and they were filling, and they taste good with a lot of, you always get your French fries in the hood. Always buy your French fries in the hood, because they just taste better. They put more salt, you go in certain communities, and they don't put no salt. Oh my God, salt's gonna kill me. That type of shit. Ew, ketchup is spicy. People know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So it's been literally years. I would say at the bare minimum 2 decades since I truly indulged in fast food as an option. Like hanging out with people. Hey, I'm hungry. What do you want to go do? Like back when I used to do my radio show at Monte Carlo, they had the little mall with the McDonald's and the rest. Remember that? In there, and I used to be like, oh yeah, let's go eat some McDonald's. It's been at least 20 years since fast food was even an option in my world. And again, you can tell. You know? You can tell. Fast food, this meal only has 4,000, 5,000 calories in it. Yeah, that's, I don't eat crap. I like my body. I like my body. You know what? See, that's another thing. Maybe this has something to do with it. I grew up poor. I grew up freaking poor. I ain't gonna bullshit about that. I grew up poor where moms would buy like high C and like split it into two gallon jugs, half in this one, half in that one, fill the rest with water, and if it still tasted a little too sweet, she'd split it again to make it last a week for freaking 69 cents. I grew up poor. That's why I value people's time, and I know the value of a dollar. I grew up poor. We had everything we needed. There was always food, there was always Christmas, but poor nonetheless. So yeah, I never grew up. Soda was like a luxury. Like if we went out, I remember Grams used to be all about brunches. Like her idea of high society is she'd take us all out, we'd go to a brunch. Somewhere out on Long Island and whatnot. We'd go to a brunch in a fancy place, and I was all well behaved. They used to put bow ties on me and stuff, Seriously, I got pictures of that too. They used to put bow ties on me and little sports jackets and shit. And please, ma'am. I was good like that. But that was soda. Like even then, and we used to call it soda, not pop. Because, as a kid, you'd fill up on it. And meanwhile, we're at a buffet full of freaking lobster and shrimp and all the rest of that. And they'd be like, don't fill up on soda. Yeah, ladies do like their brunches. And I enjoyed it, too. I still enjoy a decent buffet. There used to be a buffet at Jones Beach where every station was made to order, just like the stations at the old Aladdin, the buffet in the basement. Like every station of all the international is all made to order. That place was okay, and it didn't do the old pass through. Because if you get diarrhea from a buffet, that food's old. It's got some shit in it. Literally. If you get diarrhea from a buffet, that's pretty indicative of you shouldn't be eating buffets. I didn't touch this coffee yet. What the hell's wrong with me? I'm going off on tangents here. I might be good for a third. I got a lot of stuff to do tonight. They're playing chess over here. I didn't know they had. Did they bring their own chess with them? They're playing chess over here. Alright, let's oh, I had that. That was good. That's some coffee going on. Yeah. Might be good for another one. Where did I grow up? When did you move to Las Vegas? Keep these questions coming. Where did I grow up? I grew up in born in Brooklyn, moved to Queens, moved to Long Island, moved to Vegas, moved out of Vegas, back to New York, moved back to Vegas, did a stint in Florida, this is the third time I've lived in Vegas. This is the third time. I tend to come and go with the economy. Because the economy, it's been fairly stable, all things being equal. They'd say the economy is shit right now. The economy in Vegas is always shit. It just depends what business you're in. But I've always found it relatively easy to make money in Vegas because this is the land of mediocrity. Everyone settles for shit work and, half-ass everything. Yeah, it's just not a town full of professionals. It's a town of half-assery on just about every level. Like you go into your room it was supposed to be clean before you got there, and you find, like, 3-inch long pubes still in there. I mean, it's a town of total half-assery. So if you're good at what you do, and you actually keep your word, and my motto is always under-promise and over-deliver. That's always been a business idiom of mine. Under-promise. If you think you can get it done on Friday, I've always said, yeah, I'll have it done by Monday, and then I deliver on Friday, and more than anticipated. That's all people want. Under-promise, just remember that. Under-promise and over-deliver. And you'll succeed in whatever field that you're in. If you over-promise and under-deliver, you're the typical Vegas person. You're the typical, you're the typical human, I guess now. I guess it's everywhere, not just Vegas. But this is the third time I've lived here, so I have tended to come and go with the economy. I mean, if there was a way to get out of here before the pandemic, I probably would have, to be perfectly honest. I probably would have, but, I would have taken I don't think I would have taken a loss on the house, but it wouldn't have been the most opportune time to sell it, put it that way. Mary says the Wynn Buffet was amazing. I've never eaten there. I've never, ever eaten there. When did I move? Yeah, like I said, it's the third time I've been out here, starting in the mid-90s. And like every couple of years, off on. So yeah. We'll talk about the tourism downturn or not. Is it bullshit? It's real. It is 100% real. Now, they will try to talk you into the fact that it's, it's tariff related, and it's Trump related, and it's Elon related, and it's Canada related. Like, there is some crazy shit out there. Yeah, keep them questions coming. I will circle back and get to them. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the win is like, hey, we're not doing our $200 million because, the tariffs. Bullshit. What are you buying everything on Amazon? It's just stop. Just freaking stop. You buy, the A's are like, oh, well, our steel, you're going to buy steel from Japan, from China? Shut the fuck up. A lot of people use it as an excuse. So, Canadians only made up about 4% of tourism, but overall tourism is currently down year over year 6%. Year over year, month over month, it's down 5%. I mean, it's a steady decline right now. And yes, I'm not saying all those things, like the craziness I read on X and people like, and in the Facebook Vegas groups. I'm coming from Canada. Is it true that I'm going to be arrested when I show up? I don't know what kind of propaganda they're doing in Canada, but that's kind of wild. Anyway, that's a contributing factor. Yes, tourism is down from Mexico. Duh. Tourism is down from Canada. Duh. But how about $15 beers and $25 slices of pizza? And cheap rooms being $200 plus $75 for resort fees that you never wanted, asked for, or use. I think that they boiled the frog. Bottom line is this town boiled the frog, and they did it on purpose. The presidents of both MGM and of Caesars came out about 2 years ago and said, we're going to make this town so unaffordable for the riffraff that only more affluent people can come to town. We want a more affluent experience for people. Number one, clean the fucking streets. The town's getting dirtier and dirtier. If you want affluent people, they're not going to step over piss in the bathrooms of Bellagio. I mean, so they're not providing an affluent experience, but then they were like, well, how about this, fellas, at the board meeting? No matter how high, check this out. No matter how high we raise the prices, they put it on their credit cards now. And they're all laughing. People are over here putting this whole vacation. What's it cost? There's a family of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people there. That's at least 3 rooms. That's all the meals. They're having frickin' Godiva martinis over there, coffee, whatever, a couple of frickin' noshes. It's going to cost them $150 to sit here for an hour all freaking day long. You know, so you're talking thousands. Disney, it's almost comparable. Disney is what? Disney costs like $5,000 for the average family to visit. Vegas is the same. It costs about $5,000 for the average family. You know, it doesn't have comps, but even if you have comps, how do you get the comps? By giving them money in advance. You gave them money on the last trip, and they're giving you an incentive to give them more. So comps aren't free. You paid for them. Yeah, they boiled the frog, and they don't give a shit. And as long as people were willing to... Imagine putting a vacation on a credit card. I don't recommend it. Even if you come into a Broad Nation event, don't pay 21% interest to come to Vegas. You know, it's foolhardy. It's foolhardy. Don't use your credit cards at all. Fuck credit cards. Credit cards are slavery. And people get sensitive to that word. It's financial freaking slavery. Don't use credit cards. Get out of credit. I did a whole video how to get out of credit card debt without costing you an extra freaking dime. I don't know how many people did it, but the first thing you should be seeking to do is get out of credit card debt, because it is freaking financial slavery. Just don't. Don't be putting vacations. Don't put nothing on there. Anyway, so long story short, this town done boiled the frog. They did it on purpose. Now they will. It's a business principle too. You push the price point, you push the pain point of price a little at a time. You boil the frog, and then once the frog screams and everyone around's like, you know, whatever, then you back it off to the 2 pain points prior to when everyone noticed. It's a business principle. So they'll have to back off the pain point a little bit to re-stimulate things. I mean, it's just not $15, $18, $17 beers and $25 pizzas and no snack shops. And yeah, you can do Vegas on it cheap and eat those freaking $3 hot dogs at Casino Royale, but is that really what you want to do? You know? No, it's not what I want to do. Hope it's not what you want to do. You can do it. You want to save a couple bucks, but no, they boiled the frog. They boiled the frickin' frog, and they did it on purpose, but they'll have to back off, because shareholders will freak the absolute F out, you know? Although there was a spike in, I keep track of the stock prices, the Wynn had a nice spike. When they announced they're not going to do their renovation, and they announced profits from Macau, I think it was, they had a nice spike. But other than that, no. Matt Pack, hotel front desk, wife. If you joined in the beginning, I do not discuss current, present, past, or future relationships, because I like to keep the people, especially the women in my life, out of the blast radius. So, this is what it is. So the cash advance on my credit cards, no, that's a great idea, because, yeah, I mean, take the $100, $1,000 out of your account, pay the vig on it, the cash advance vig, and then take it to what? The baccarat table. You'll get rich. You'll get rich. Don't worry. You can't lose. That's funny. We don't charge anything. We save for a vacation. Proper way to do it. Proper credit card debt. Not having to think about a credit card. I have. You know how much credit card debt I have? 0. If I can't afford it, I mean, I do have expense-related cards if I got to take a trip or do this or that or the other. I do have them. I just don't use them. Half the time, because I got great credit, half the time when I get a card, they end up canceling the damn thing because I don't use it. You know, I had a Capital One frickin' Visa card or something. They canceled that shit a few weeks ago. They were just like, non-use, sorry. And it wasn't one of those stupid ones where you have to pay $35 a year or something, you know. It was legit, and they canceled it. They're like, we're not making any money off this freaking guy. So they canceled my card. So yeah, that's what usually happens with my credit cards. They end up canceling the damn thing, because I refuse to use them. I mean, if you use them, that's up to you. Well, you get points, I get I get all that. That's cool. I choose not to. Because if I can't afford it, I ain't spending the money. Emergencies, yeah. I do have some. All right, let's find some more questions. Casinos nearly everywhere. Sports betting on your phone. Yes. Yeah, that is affecting the town. That is affecting the town, but none of that can compare. It'll never be the Vegas experience. You know, there's just something about here. You know, the people watching, the buzz, especially like me. I'll be honest. I mean, I could take it for granted. I could get jaded by it, you know, because it's my backyard. For all intents and purposes, this is my backyard, and I'm fortunate to have this as a backyard, so I can get numb to it. You know, like in my mind, you know, tourists look up, regulars like myself, people who come here a lot or whatever, look down. I'm the one noticing the gum, the broken glass, the stripper cards, you know, the stuff, you know. Everyone else is looking up. Oh my God, this town is so beautiful. It's amazing. You know, there's two different mentalities. I look down. Other people look up because I've been looking up so long. I know that it's beautiful and this and that. Sometimes I have to reassess my appreciation of things because I can get jaded and you do become numb to it. You know, but I'm fortunate to be here, nonetheless. But nothing will replace it. You know, no amount of sports book betting, Indian casinos. Vegas will always be Vegas. Has it made an impact? Yeah, I'm sure it's put a dent in that, but not nearly as much as just the gouging. The gouging. I mean, they tried to say, you know, Vegas was a budget oriented. You could come here and do Vegas on the cheap and all this other shit. You can't anymore. You know, once they started doing. Believe it or not, one of the biggest dents, and they don't realize it yet, maybe they do, just paid parking. Just the fact that you have to pay. I have to pay $30. $30 I have to pay on the way out of here. $30 to park. $30 freaking dollars. And it's no longer incremental. It used to be $8 for the first 2 hours, $12 for up to 12 hours, you know, $30 for overnight. Now it's $30 whether it's 30 minutes or an entire day. There's no more increments. So I used to not give a shit. Even when they went to a paid parking model, I didn't care. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? $8. I'm gonna tip more than $8 per cup of coffee. You know, because I'm not an a-hole. Speaking of coffee, just to come here today, at the minimum, it's going to cost me between $50 and $60. Just to come here. Between the parking and 3 coffees and the tips I'm going to give, it's going to cost me $60 to be here. Now that's insane. If you think about it, that's freaking insane. All right, I'm very generous tipper and whatnot. Excluding that, it's $30. Just $30. That's nuts. They put a dent big time in their California traffic. You know, doing that, because to bring you know, you drive out from California, from San Diego, then you got to pay for parking, pay for parking, pay for parking, pay for parking, everywhere you go. You know, you walk away after, you know, 3 days, 4-day weekend. If you visited 4 places, you're into the parking just for $150. You go to freaking Caesars, they charge you to park even though you're a guest. That's nuts. They don't realize the amount of damage that they did, you know, with that, but they don't give a shit. Resorts World just went back to free parking for a month because their numbers are so horrible. That was a ghost town. But is it back now to pre-COVID pandemic levels of tourism? No. No, I saw that question. No. I mean, just by looking around, I can tell it's not back to where it was, and I don't think it'll ever be back to where it was, because they made up their mind post-COVID that they were gonna, you know, endeavor to keep, I wouldn't say riffraff, they were going to endeavor to keep the average person. If the average person wants to come to Vegas, they're going to have to pay to be here. They eliminated they wanted so much. They took that opportunity to try to revamp the image that this town was for the affluent. This town was about money. This town was about expenditure. This town was about, you know, they wanted to change it, that you couldn't do Vegas on the cheap anymore. I mean, you still can, but you can do Vegas on the cheap, but you will have a cheap experience, you know? You could stay at the Strat. I mean, I know some people like... Strat had a freaking deal for $1. As long as you were willing to pay the $40 hotel fees or whatever, it had $1. You know, but it's the Strat. The Strat used to be fun back in the day, but you could do the entire town on the cheap. You can go from the Strat to Casino Royale, fill up on $3 freaking hot dogs, get botulism. You can sit and get free drinks, maybe at a bar top somewhere, and you could endeavor to craft your vacation in a very budget or frugal manner, but you're not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna have a good time. I mean, you're just not. It's just not gonna be the same experience. I mean, you'll still be in Vegas, but you know, what are you gonna do when you're thirsty? You know, it's 110. Oh my God, I'm thirsty. There's no fucking water fountains here. You're gonna have to break down somewhere in, like this place I'm looking at right there, a bottle of water in water in that little bodega gift shop over there. It's like $12 for a freaking little bottle of water that you know costs 50 cents. Or you can wait and find an ABC store and carry them around like a camel for $1 a piece and do Vegas budget and carry a backpack and be freaking miserable. You know, it's like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that, and I couldn't do either way. You know, I'm just fortunate enough to live it, but this is still gonna cost me $60. That's more than some people make in a whole freaking day just to come and hang out. You know, it's crazy. I remember coming here. I used to do video editing and photo editing and meet customers and shit. And like, where do you want to meet? We'd meet at the Mirage, at the coffee shop. It didn't cost a part. Now I got to think about it. Ooh, I have to go. Let me see. I got to go to Palazzo. I got to go to the Forum shop, and then I got to run down to Aria. That's going to cost me $90 in parking to go and do these three things. You know, I have to take shit like that into consideration. You know, it's kind of nuts. It's kind of freaking nuts. Locals, we don't get a discount for parking. You get things like your first hour free. What does that do? Nothing. You know, in the grand scheme of things, having the first hour free. What are you doing for an hour? All right, by the time it starts clicking as soon as you get in. All right, it takes 5 minutes to park, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get inside the property. So that's 10 minutes in, 10 minutes out, and so that's 20 minutes. What are you gonna do in a casino as a local for 30 to 40 minutes? Oh, sit down and have a cup of coffee, make a phone call? No, you're paying. Even if they give you that first hour free, you're paying. And you have to pay $30 because there's no incremental parking anymore. That's the one that gets me. I didn't mind 8. I didn't mind 10. 30, whether it's an hour or 24 hours, is insane. That's insane. I remember one time I was leaving the Bellagio and I was cutting it close on their incremental parking. And so I had like 5 minutes or something. And I didn't anticipate it, so I left the parking garage and I'm making my way. Now I'm the 5th car, the 4th car, the 3rd car, the whatever car. And then like they upped it. I had to pay like the beyond the 3-hour price and the beyond the 6-hour price to the next tier. And I'm like, bro, I've been on this line for 10 minutes, you know? Had this not long-ass line, hadn't been here with that one guy who didn't have any money or whatever he was arguing about, wasn't in the way, I would have been gone. I got in my car with plenty of, he's like, tough shit. And I had to pay. I mean, I remember that. They made me pay because I didn't make it out in time. So that means you had to be there early. And so the free parking for locals is kind of jiving. And they do once in a while, they'll do like a staycation thing, but they don't even give locals comps. If you're a local, you don't even get comps. You get staycation offers. Ooh, 40% off, you know? It's like, no, you don't get comps as a local, ever. You don't get nothing as a local. $60, that's a lot of pizza. Have you made a cauliflower pizza croissant? No, I have not. I've been thinking about that today. I've been making so much. You know what I had for lunch? I had a little bowl. I took some ricotta cheese. I scooped it out. Except I didn't make it with, I didn't put any meat in it. I just took the ricotta, threw it in there, and I put some spaghetti sauce, not too much, a lot of acid, and I put some Parmesan cheese, and I put some sliced mozzarella in there, and I blasted it in the microwave for, 90 seconds, whatever it was. So it was all, and I mixed it up, and I ate it like, you know what I'm talking about, Mary, because that's how I learned it, you know, when we were at Bavette's. But yeah, I ate that on the regular. That's good. Yeah, remember $2.99 shrimp cocktails and breakfast? Yeah, I get it. You know, I remember going out, you know, prime rib, you know, you'd have a prime rib dinner in this town. Beautiful piece of prime rib for like $9.99 or whatever the heck it was. Those days are long gone. Now I'm getting a glasses commercial. Yeah, it's not, I mean, there's places you can go off the strip and, you know, enjoy a cheap meal and whatever, but not so much. Not so much. You know, and sometimes I eat at the nicer restaurants here when there's people in town, you know, sometimes for business-related functions and things like that. But overall, I'm not even that much of a restaurant person because, again, you know, growing up the way I did, I understand the value of $1. It does not grow on trees. So to spend, I mean, as much as I enjoy Bavette's and, you know, other steakhouses, in the back of my mind, I wouldn't do it of my own accord. I wouldn't be like, you know what? I feel like going to eat an excellent steak today and just, you know, go sit at the bar at friggin' Bavette's and order a steak for $100. You know, because it would just be tugging on me so hard that I could buy like 2 standing rib roasts, cook one as is, eat it for a week, butcher the other into prime rib steaks and throw them on my grill for the same $100 and eat for 2 weeks. Every day, prime rib. You know, well, almost every day, for the same $100, you know, plus tip, and you get the side. I mean, if you're with, you know, friends, but of my own accord, no. Foodie, whatever. I eat when I'm hungry. I eat when I'm hungry. It's not like, you know, food's important because I eat when I'm hungry. I don't eat when I'm not hungry. That's another thing. You want to know how to keep trim? Don't eat until you're hungry. You know, and don't eat more, and eat slow. You know, don't wolf shit down. Let your stomach tell your brain you're full. You know, when you eat when you're hungry, you can overeat. But it is what it is. All right, what do we do? Yeah, Phil. I mean okay. Me and Phil. Okay, that was probably the last time I ate some. I got the French fries at Earl Sandwich when we were over there. Those were good. That was all right, and I think I snagged some of that roast beef off yours when you weren't looking. Where's the other place? We ate at, I was talking about that the other day. We ate at that Johnny Rockets. That was about 3 years ago. Yeah, me and Phil eat fast food, but and they promised they didn't put no gluten in that and whatever. I mean, I'll still eat carbs. It's just not. You know, it's not like, whoa, you know, I got to think about it. It's like, oh, I haven't had carbs in 3 days. I can afford some, you know, some natural sugar. Anyway, yeah, the buffet. Yeah, we ate that buffet over at when is your thing up? Send me a private note with that. When is your thing up? What is your favorite restaurant and favorite meal in today's Vegas? Where's the best salmon? I don't know. Salmon, I do not know. Honestly, I don't think I've ever ordered fish in Vegas, ever, except sushi. And sushi, I'm a Yama Sushi dude, not the one down by Fontainebleau, but Yama Sushi off strip. All you can eat for 35 bucks, keep it coming all night, and it's always fresh and delicious. So that's my fish thing. Favorite restaurant? Daily driver favorite restaurant? It's not really daily driver like McDonald's, but Bavette's all friggin' day. Followed possibly by Javier's. Yeah, but the best, I can't remember the name. Who knows the name of the restaurant? You're at the Aria. You got the Aria and you got the Crystal Shops. And there's that little walkway between Aria and Crystal Shops. And there's that restaurant with the phony flames in front, like 30 feet of phony flames or whatever. I don't remember the name of that restaurant. Why is that eluding me? Someone in the comments will know. Little restaurant, it's sort of out, half of it's a little outdoors, but it goes deep between Aria and the Forum Shop. To the right side of Valet, you walk down the thing, and the Forum Shop's here, entrance there, and the bar with the flame, the restaurant with the flames in front of it. That place, if anyone finds the name of it, probably one of the best meals I've ever had was at that place. It was one of the best steaks I ever had, one of the best presentations. I mean, this place, I think I mentioned it, they served the steak and everything else on sizzling rocks. They served it on a rock that was in a cutting board. So it was dripping over the side, the stone rock, whatever the hell it was a flat frickin' rock. And it kept the steak, like I was flipping the steak, you know, to keep it like totally on point. But, and yeah, and it kept it warm. And then I was slicing in advance and laying it on the hot rock and getting a little bit of sear on both sides. That's how hot it was. And then the juices were dripping off the side into the wood thing. The rock fit inside the wood thing. You can buy them on Amazon for like 30, 40 bucks. You know, I don't know how you heat a stone up. I'd be afraid to heat up an Amazon stone because you heat up the wrong, so let me just cautionary tale. If you heat up the wrong kind of stone, it'll explode. If you've ever thrown weird stones in fire in your campfire, you know that a stone can crack and take an eye out. So I don't know if I'd 100% trust the stones. I'd have to read the reviews or whatever. Some stone from frickin' China. But yeah, that was one of the best meals I ever had. Someone look up whatever the heck that was. I will look it up. And the place is, yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, Toco Moderna. Thank you. Yeah, Toco Moderna. Now, Toco Moderna is not, it's an independent. It is not part of MGM like most of these places. All right. Bavette's. Is it truly independent? No, because it's an MGM version of it. You know, I don't know how they do it. It's not licensed. There's a whole bunch of legalities to it. But it's an MGM property, you know, Bavette's. Most of the other ones are MGM property. Toco Moderna is not an MGM property. It is totally standalone. So you can't use your comps or, you know, anything else over there. I just saw Mary put up Bizarre Meat. Bizarre Meats was good too. It was very good. It was very uniquely presented. I ate there once, business dinner, and they did family style everything. They did serve on the sizzling, the hot stones also. Giant T-bone, but they sliced it for everyone, and it was on the Lazy Susan. That was a very good meal too. And I do remember some of the sides. It was like one of those almost like gastropubby things, like they turned asparagus into like cotton candy level shit. I remember that. It's frou-frou stuff. That doesn't really impress me, but it kind of impressed me a little bit. But I remember the steak being you got to pick your own steaks, and they showed the origin, what ranch they came from, and all the rest of that stuff. That was kind of cool. It was good. It wasn't cheap, but it was good. Believe it or not, where we're going to have the Raw Nation get-together 2026, which is only 10 months away. Maggiano's, they have excellent steak. They have excellent steak there. They're not known for steak because you think Maggiano's, what do they got? Some pasta, some stromboli, some guguts, some tiramisu. No, no. They make, Italians make, Italian cooked or style steak. It's freaking wonderful. I love Carbone's, and they're famous for Italian. Carbone's makes an awesome steak. Carbone's makes an awesome steak Diana. I mean, lick the plate level for it. Steak Diana is basically pot roast made with prime rib. I mean, it's just amazing. Amazing. My favorite dish in there is the steak Diana at Carbone. What else? And Maggiano's. Maggiano's makes a great steak. I'm going to answer that in a second. I'm going to show you something real quick. Want to see something real quick? Can I show you? I'll show you. I'll show you. You want to see Carbone? Let me show you. Let me turn this around. I don't have any recommendation for pizza because I don't eat pizza in town. All right, I do not eat pizza. Can you see that? That was a tomahawk steak for. That was a tomahawk steak for like. How many? I think there was 4 of us, and they took the time to brand. I mean, shouldn't you take that home? I should have put that in my pocket. But look at that deliciousness. Look at that. They branded the bone on the tomahawk. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't cheap neither. It was probably like friggin', I don't know. I didn't pay. It was probably a buttload of money. Alright, let me see if there's anything else. Alright. No more pictures. Yeah. Got some brand. How you doing, Jim Wolf? Yeah, wasn't that sexy? It was like a tattoo. It's like a tattoo on a steak. Do I need more coffee? What time is it? Wow. We're going past 2 hours. I like it. I'm in the mood for some steak. I need to go buy me some steak. I'm gonna have to pass Smith's tonight. I'm in the mood. Yeah, now I'm in the mood to eat some steak. I've been on that, faux lasagna, pasteless lasagna kick for a while. I made a big pork butt like this because I found out that it's impossible to F up pork butt. You season it, you stick it in the frickin' oven at 250. You could forget about it for like a day. Come back, it'll still be good because there's so much fat in there. It'll still be juicy. Yeah, but I've been eating it all week, so I'm a little bored with it. A couple pounds. Gotta watch them carbs, says Blackie. Absolutely. I mean, think of it this way. Carbs, the equivalent of carbs, if you eat too many, it has to go somewhere. You buy, like, if you put too much gas in your car as a fuel, would you hang 5-gallon gas cans off the side of your car? That's what you're doing. That's the same thing you're doing to your body. Okay, you're eating excess, so it has to go somewhere. Where's it going? It's going in your ass, in your freaking thighs, in your butt, in your gut, in your man boobs, wherever it's going. It's the same thing as hanging 5-gallon gas cans on the outside of your car because you overfilled the tank. That's what excess carbs is actually doing to you, if you want to visualize it. So keep it in check. You can eat some carbs. I'm just more of a purist, you know. But you know why? I'll be honest. I got a sweet tooth. I love eating sweet shit. I used to eat like half a gallon of ice cream a day with peanut butter, strawberries, milk, chocolate syrup, or I'd take a grater and a Cadbury chocolate bar every freaking day. And yes, I was bigger and everything, but I knew I was giving myself metabolic damage. That shit caught up with me. Anyway, a baritone mic check. Yeah, Brussels sprouts are the joint. I was in Smith. Their entire Brussels sprouts section a couple of days ago was all on sale. It wasn't bad, it wasn't old, but they had 2-pound bags of cut Brussels sprouts, Kroger brand, 2-pound bags for $4. For $4. I bought all of them. They had 4. It cost me $16 for 8 pounds of Brussels sprouts. And I ate the shit out. One of the chicks in there, the server chicks, she gave me the recipe for their Brussels sprouts. But she did it in such a, we got to keep this on the D-Lo way that I forgot. I specifically got to go back there, find her, I know who she is, and get that recipe. She gave me the recipe, and it is not balsamic vinegar, and it's not honey. All right, Joe's got a question, and remember, it's still AMA day, even though I'm talking the balls off of Rhinoceros. You could ask me questions. I think, Joe, you know the answer to most of these questions. Thank you for the 5 banana rhymes. Your dream girl. I don't have a dream girl. The concept of having a dream girl does not exist in my world. It does not exist. So let's just get that straight. There's the concept of a dream girl. Who would be my dream girl? I don't have one. I don't have one. I couldn't even envision those words coming out of my mouth. Oh, she's the girl of my dreams. No, I consider myself the prize. Let's just be real. As arrogant as that sounds, no. I mean, I'm intelligent. I look good from 50 feet away, doing 50 miles an hour. I keep myself fit, I have boudoir skills. I'm intelligent, I'm witty, I'm charming. Yeah, I got some things going for me. Yeah, I'm an asshole too sometimes, but no. No, I've never really been I've never said to myself, she's out of my league. That never occurred to me, ever. And it's not a point of arrogance. It's just about, you gotta know yourself. You gotta love yourself, You gotta be in love with yourself. Not in love. You have to love yourself first to be able to love others. You have to love God first. Then you have to love yourself, and then family, country. I never envisioned a dream girl. The girl in my dreams would be... Now, fantasy is another thing. That's completely different. But I don't think anyone would want to be with the fantasy person in their mind, or when they close their eyes, even when they close their eyes when they're with someone. Would you truly want to be with your fantasy person? Maybe it's different for women, but I don't think guys as a whole would truly want to be with their fantasy woman, as a regular relationship. Fantasies are meant to be just that, a fantasy. But to be with your fantasy person? No, I can only speak for myself. I couldn't picture that happening. What is my fantasy? I don't know. Well, I do, but I don't know. So there's no such thing as a dream girl. That would put you in subjection. Oh, she's the girl of my dreams. Really? I don't know. I've never experienced that. Anyway, But she loves to smoke cigars. Well, that's out. You know, I that would not. I mean, if she was okay with smoking cigars, I'd be okay with that. But if she loved to smoke cigars, that's a little too masculine for me. Love to smoke them, that's a masculine thing. So that would kind of be out. And that's like kind of a pickle jar thing. You know, it's a guy's thing, so smoking cigars for the most part. So that would mean she surrounds herself with dudes. No, that's all sorts of red flags, so that's not happening. She's a manager at Taco Bell. I don't care. See, that's one thing about guys. We don't give a shit what a woman does for a living, like at all. Your degrees don't impress us. Your job title doesn't impress us. We don't even give a shit about how much money you make. If you're the right type of woman for us, we don't care whether you're, you know, a barista or a CEO. In fact, most guys wouldn't touch a CEO, not because we're intimidated by the strong independence. We just like don't give a shit. We just know that's a lot of problems, and that's a lot too much masculine energy. But she's a submissive sweetheart. Will you make her happy? P.S. Joe Biden is a robot. Yeah, that's a given. No, he's a Tesla robot. Will I make her happy? Well, the whole concept. Okay, let's take it in the other direction. Happy life, happy wife. Happy wife, happy life. Said me never. Like if you make your wife happy, then your life is easier. Yes, dear. All that. No, it's kind of like nature contradicts that. When a man is happy, he will jump in front of bullets for a woman. When a man is pleased, he will be blind to other women around him. When a man is happy, he will go out and fight dragons every single day of his life till the day he dies to make sure his woman and his family are happy. So it's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite of what, you know, the world wants to train men to think. Happy wife, happy life. Yes, dear, you're always right. Yes, we'll paint the master bedroom pink. No, that's an unhappy man that'll be fucking Becky from the water cooler every chance he gets. Because that man's gonna cheat on you. He will silently frickin' hate you. He will not do his best. Happy wife, happy life. That is the degradation of a relationship. A man who's absolutely honored will do the things he needs to do as a man for his woman and his family without ever having to be asked if he's happy. So, yeah. All right. Hope that answers that question. I love talking about relationship stuff. All right. When my ex said I do, I should have asked her, with who? Oh, damn. Some of these girls smoke, but not cigars. They're just smoking. Their smoke shows took me a while to get back there. Smoke shows, back to Star Trek, holodeck. First officer had a girl there. Yeah. The holodeck thing, is that cheating? If you were on a holodeck and you conjured up your fantasy woman, yeah, that's cheating. That's cheating. Yeah, anyway you cut it, that's cheating. Holodecks are cheating. Yeah. Is an AI female cheating? You're an AI robot girl? Well, if your partner or guy, whatever, bought it, yeah, then it's not. But if it is, yeah, that's sticky. That's like Minaj, you know. That can get weird. That can get weird. Okay. Feminist studies professor. Who's a feminist studies professor? Oh, would I ever be with one? No. No. I couldn't stand the smell of the litter boxes that were surrounding a feminist professor. You know there's litter boxes in that house or that apartment. Ugh. Anyway. Definitely not attractive in a woman. Barbara Eden in the 50s and 60s. Barbara Eden. Yeah, I remember Barbara Eden. I think Barbara Eden was probably my first crush. Going back to like watching reruns when I was a kid, you know, in the 70s and whatnot. Early 80s. Yeah, I remember watching the reruns going, dun, dun, And I was just like, you mean all I gotta do is ask and she will do anything I want? Where's the beach? Where do I get one of them bottles? And I used to sit there with that Tony asshole and be like, dude, you don't know how good you have it. And you're treating her this poorly? All right, she projected herself as having an IQ of 80 in that show, but I don't care. See, we don't even care how smart women are. You know, smart, stupid, whatever. As long as you treat us well, it doesn't freaking matter. I don't care if I was with a smart woman or a dumb woman. It wouldn't mean nothing to me. As long as, she was compliant. Yeah, he blew it. Tony blew it. But then the show would have been over. He blew it. He was set. Dude, Tony was freaking set. Not that, conjure me up a freaking, Mercedes, but just in life. He was set. He just freaking blew it. Alright, I gotta read something real quick. Alright, hold on. I gotta answer a message real quick. Bonk, I put a thumbs up. That to my inner circle would mean I'm busy. Alright, and I'm getting hit with a commercial. What the heck is this? Rise, a better cup of coffee, and it has a mushroom tip on it? What the hell is that? Rise and Shine mushroom tip flavored coffee. I didn't want no mushrooms in my coffee. I Dream of Jeannie. Yeah, Barbara Eden. I mean, she kept herself together a long time. I have a friendship, Marianne, I have a friendship who's doing that now. His wife is expecting her. Doing what? What are we talking about? What is she doing? Cat pee and empty wine boxes everywhere. You know that. You know that. you know that. You can smell the litter boxes right away. Marianne or Ginger? Marianne. No. Ginger. Yeah, I'm team Ginger. I mean, I think Marianne was a little more fit, but I did like the the Ginger thing a little. I don't know. I mean, are we talking like for recreational purposes or relationship purposes? Maybe for relationship purposes, Marianne and Ellie Mae. Yeah, Marianne and Ellie Mae, for like more relationship purposes, those would be like my two wives and whatever. Moved to Utah, married Marianne and Ellie Mae, clamp it. But for recreational purposes, probably Ginger. Just saying. Don from Lost in Space was your first crush, yeah. I get it. Yeah, Don, I mean, he was a good-looking guy. He was in charge of stuff. Judy was all about him and whatever. Yeah. Judy was kind of a looker, too. He does whatever his wife wants. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing what your wife wants, as long as she's grateful. If she doesn't show any gratitude, it diminishes the chance I'd want to do anything for anyone at that point, especially someone I'm in a relationship with. If you're not showing gratitude, like there's just some level of expectancy involved, once you're doing things that, you don't, all right, I hate the word real man or whatever, but, as a man, you do shit like, cover her if the blanket slips off. You know how she likes the refrigerator. It's not because you don't want to hear shit. You try to make the other person's life easier, and guys have a little more way of doing it on the sly because we just feel we take personal pride in that. We do things a certain way. We'll put gas in the car. We'll do different things, but we're not necessarily looking for a pat on the back. We just feel better as men when we do it. So it's more of a self-satisfying thing. But when a woman gets to the point where she even stops noticing that you're doing these little tweaks and these little things, that kind of sucks. You know, that just sucks the inspiration to keep doing them right out of you. I mean, she should notice, wow, you know, this guy's doing all these little things, you know, to make my life easier. You know, he's putting out my vitamins, or, you know, all those things. And that's not being a wuss. That's not being yes dear. But we do that as men. Well, I think a lot of guys, I think if you're not, you probably should. It's the little things that matter more than the bigger gestures. But once they're taken for granted, all bets are off. That's just me. Yeah, Ellie Mae had a lot of pets, didn't she? Down by the cement pond. I remember being in love with Heather Locklear when she was with Tom. Yeah, and 8 is enough. Yeah, I remember. Heather Locklear. Heather Locklear wasn't Captain Kirk? I never got into that show. What was that show where Captain Kirk was a cop? Wasn't that Heather Locklear in there? I remember that. I used to drive. Yeah, Phil used to hang with frickin' Heather Locklear. Fall Guy. Was that Fall Guy? Fall Guy was Lee Majors. Yeah, that was Lee Majors. They are newlyweds, and we'll say, well, you know, a relationship like that where a man is a total freaking wuss, and that might last forever, because some women, you know, seek out men they can dominate. You know, and that might last forever. But you know, she's gonna be like banging Chad left and right on the side, and her boss and everyone else she can. Relationship, Marianne, recreation, bingo. All right, thank you. Reiterated. All right, I gotta see more messages. My messages are not moving. Neither is this coffee. I gotta suck it down. It's iced coffee at this point. All right, let me see something. Oh, I see some super chat activity. Did I pass that? No, that was Lord of the Rings. Again, no pizza recommendations. Jad, what's up? Just ate a banana. You're making me rethink what I... Yeah, please do Okay. The simplest way for me to put this, to get people to think about it, in life, you only have control over 2 things. There's only 2 things in life that you can actually control, that you actually have authority over in your life. It's not your job, it's not your wife, husband, lover, nothing. You technically don't have that. You think you might have control over things, but you do not. The only 2 things in life that you have control over is what goes into your mouth and what comes out of your mouth. It's the only things that you actually have full control over. What you say and what you eat. What goes into your mouth and what comes out of your mouth. It's the only things you can actually control. So that's what kind of blows my mind, why people don't take care of their bodies, you know? They're willing to mutate into some form of, I don't know what, because they just don't realize it's the only thing you can control is what goes into your mouth and what comes out of your mouth. It's the only 2 things you can control. Everything else is completely and utterly out of your control, especially if it has other humans involved. You know, one day someone's going to come up to you and say, I don't love you anymore, I want a divorce. You have no control over anything in your life. Anything. Truly. Except what goes into your mouth and what comes out of it. Just think about that. You know? Just think about that. It's the only shots you get to truly call. I don't care how powerful you are. You can be a CEO, you can be master of the universe. It's still the only 2 things you can control. You can't control even your own household. It's beyond your control. You can't control your kids. You know, you can only control what goes in your mouth and what comes out of your mouth. See, the thing is, too, here's the other thing. If you can control what goes into your mouth, you'll find, here's the thing, you will find that you can start to control other things, other behaviors in your life, because it's truly a control thing. I do not have to do this. I chose to do it. Nothing is forcing me to do that. Nothing is forcing me. That's totally 100% in my control. Do I have to say, whether I say I love South Point or South Point could eat a bag, totally in my control. Totally, it's not an involuntary action. Eating is not an involuntary action, like breathing or your heartbeat. You know? It's totally in your control. I chose. Now I'm like, I want a little more of this cold coffee. I'm debating whether to get another coffee and really bounce off the walls. However, once you master control of that, of what you actually put in your mouth and what leaves your mouth, well, the talking part, you'll find your life improve once you start to control the shit that goes out of your mouth. You'll find yourself surrounded with a better quality person. You'll find yourself things going more your way than previously, because you're not impulse driven. You're not so impulsive, and so you think about what you're gonna say, because the brain process works like this. We're getting a little metaphysical. Screw it. I don't see any more questions. If you can think it, you can say it. If you can say it, you can bring it into reality, whether it's good or bad. Because it's like brain thinks, mouth speaks, ears hear, and it completes the freaking circuit of thought. And you can convert into action. So when you got shit flying out of your mouth all day long, negativity, rudeness, gossip, all that other shit, you're reinforcing that. You're reinforcing the negativity. So just by neuroplasticity, you're training your mind to be negative. You're training your mind to be tainted and ugly, and all the rest of that shit. But neuroplasticity also states that if you're thinking of positive and good and you control the things that come out of your mouth, and then your ears hear it, it goes back to your brain, and your brain has aha moments, boom, better life. At the same time, things you put in your mouth, same thing happens. And you will find that other poor habits, other inadequacies that you might have or perceive in your life, you can get control over what you eat. You can get control over everything. You want to what is the best way to lead? What is the best way to influence people? Beating them with a stick? Maybe, but a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. Never forget that. Person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You could whip someone into frickin' submission, but they're not truly submitting. Person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. The best way to win friends and influence people, I don't know if it's a Dale Carnegie thing, I've never read the books actually, is to lead by example. Lead by example. You know? So if you're controlling your intake and what you eat, the people around you will perceive that, and you'll inspire them. You know, well, if mom is taking care of themselves, the kids are gonna be like, oh, I'll eat the carrots too, Mom. This is fun. You know, I mean, you don't have to beat people over the head as much as you found. If you can control and lead by your own good habits and examples, you'd be surprised how far you can go in life. Now, you know, don't ram it down people's throats. I mean, I'm ramming it down a lot of people's throats right here because I love you guys. And I don't want you to have friggin' heart attacks. And I want to see you around in 5 years for the Bror Nation get together. You know, I don't want to hear that your diabetes got the best of you. You know, I love you guys. So, you know, I come from a place of love too, but I'm also trying to come from a place of example. So, yeah, I might be a little harsh at times, but it's coming from a good place. But try to, yeah, if you get control over what comes into your mouth and what comes out of your mouth, your life is going to get better. And you will lead by example. People will respect you. I mean, if I was 50 pounds overweight, would people give a shit about anything I said in the health realm? I mean, let's be real. No. You know, would you take advice? I mean, that's what always boggled my mind. You know, people taking marriage advice from priests. You know, it's like, what? You know, I remember my first marriage. I had to go to like some kind of marriage counseling shit with Catholic priests and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, bro, what are you talking about? I mean, no, well, you know, paragraph this, scripture that, or whatever. I'm like, but you're not giving me any practical advice, and don't judge me because you ain't never been married. You ain't never gonna be married. So that's crazy. Or a psychiatrist that's freaking nuts. A marriage counselor who's divorced. A marriage counselor who's single. A relationship counselor who's single. A sparkle coach, because women love their freaking coaches. Who's unhappy. the fruit, you judge a tree by the fruit, you know? So, it is what it is, you know? Just be cautious. That's why I don't take anybody's word for anything. Would you take fitness advice from a slob? No. You know? I mean, you know, if you want to eat good, cheap food, you know, follow the big old round truckers, you know, there might be some validity to that, but, you know, big old fat trucker is going to have freaking clogged arteries, too. Anyway. No more, Phil, no more ho-hos for you. Yeah, lead by example. Yeah, we are going to get into, because I said we don't have time, I'm going on a tangent about this stuff. It's fun. I'm having fun. Second cup of coffee. I'm just like freaking lit. I don't think I should do a third. And she's not offering me a third. She's playing hard to get over there. Ellie would offer me a third. I like pitting them against each other. What the hell was I talking about? Something. Oh, we were going to go down the whole Trump-Musk controversy. There's a lot to cover there. There's a lot to cover there. And I have opinions, and I put some in the beginning. We will do that Wednesday, because this thing is still unfolding. It could be a psyop. It could be real. There could be a master plan behind it. It could be real. Yeah, one more cup, and I could pretty much fly. I won't even remember driving. I'm almost buzzed from this coffee right now. Alright, hold on. My chat is stopping again. Oh, I must have pissed someone off because we're down to 93 people. That's fun. I'm in True Bar. My back itches. I'm in True Bar, which is at the very end of the Forum Shop, and the strip and the arch is right there, like 50 feet away. The big metallic, the big like LED sign. My favorite place to have coffee. Great live stream. See you, Jim. Have a good one. Let me see what else. Chris, yeah, I'm glad you got on the chat too. Like I said, please don't take my word for everything. I just want to be an inspiration to. How would I say? I like making people think. Even sometimes I know I go overboard. Sometimes I know I push people's buttons. Sometimes I know I might exaggerate to make a point. Sometimes I know, and I don't thoughtfully do it. Today I'm going to exaggerate about this. Today I'm really going to see what kind of heads I can make explode. I don't do that. It's just kind of my nature. I like to provoke thought. Yeah, I like to provoke thought. I like to provoke people to the point of thought. And I like people to think independent. I'm not looking to start a Jim Jones friggin' commune. Everyone's got to think like me. That would suck. It's not a game plan. But I like to provoke thought. I think that's my mission. I think that's why I enjoy doing this. Obviously not for the money. It's going to cost me more to do this show than I'm going to make more. But it's not about the money. I just like to... I think it's a calling. I think... You know, I always have this sense that 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 people out there need to hear something I say. And it's not about me and ego and all the rest of that shit. I just feel, you know, sometimes that there's a higher purpose than just making people laugh and talking shit and whatnot. And I mean, it is cathartic and it is fun for me to, you know, have a little soapbox to talk on and get out of the house. And I truly, especially Fridays, I look forward to it all week. Being able to get out and just sit down and be real. I mean, there's no difference. This conversation that we're having right now, you just subscribe, welcome, thank you. Joy, thank you. This conversation we're having right here, right now, isn't much different than if you truly knew me and you were sitting down here. You know, this is, I mean, I might be a slightly more exaggerated version of the quote-unquote real me, you know, because if I was more monotone and I didn't do things like this, and I didn't, you know, this is me. This is me. Maybe a slightly amped version of me, but it's me. It is me. You know, if you were sitting down here, anyone who sat down with me at any point in life that's sitting out there, you know that. This is me. So I get to hang out, you know. I'm not a, you know, my circle, believe it or not, is a very small circle. It's a very small world. I have a lot of acquaintances, but it's a small circle. And this almost feels there's 100 people watching right now. To me, this feels like an intimate setting, you know? And I look forward to it every week. You guys are my extended family. I mean, I like it. I dig it. Right? And Phil knows that this is, I mean, Phil, you know, I mean, this is, yeah, it's a slightly more exaggerated version of who I am, but it's who I am, you know? It is me. These are the conversations that me and Phil have. When me and Phil get together, we talk about just about the same shit, you know? we talk about, you know, relationships, past, present, future, what we learn from them, you know? We people watch. We do all the things, you know, that we're doing right now. I mean, not, you know, you're not all of them, but yeah, you know, I like being who I am. So, and I love you guys, and I like you guys. Da-da-da-da-da. I am your new subscriber, Mama Joy. Yeah, how you doing, Mama? Now, let me see if there's any other questions. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Did I dominate this AMA? This was supposed to be your opportunity to answer questions. And I took questions and turned them into like 15-minute conversation. Did I F up? I haven't done an AMA in 6 months. Did I F that up? Or did you enjoy it? You know? Let me know. I mean, I don't care. You can tell me. Did I like dominate the AMA? Do I owe you another one? Let me know. Did I squash the conversation? All right, cool. I hope everyone's day was wonderful and blessed and appreciated. Please don't let them... Yeah, I agree, Joy. All right, you guys enjoyed it? All right, good. Mike K, how you doing? Be out next Tuesday through Thursday for Kenny Chesney. All right, sounds good. That Wednesday probably sounds good. Matter of fact, I think I have people in town for Kenny Chesney also. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, me and Brother Phil, a lot of fun. We have fun. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you. We always have a great time. I'm trying to see any other. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this cold ass cup of coffee right now. I truly enjoy your interaction, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you guys get something. Believe it or not, I get something out of this. I can't really define what that is. I mean, it's cathartic. It's also that same principle. Sometimes I'm not perfect. I'm a fuck up just like everyone else, I mean, let's be honest. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And I walk a thin line of arrogance and confidence. I know that. But it's also, again, if the thoughts, when I get into this, I've been in it for an hour. Coffee enhances this, that stream of consciousness, where whatever's rattling around up here comes out this way, but it's coming down and I'm hearing it. So it's either reinforcing something or preventing me from something, Overthinking has always been a superpower for me. When people say about overthinking is bad for you, overthinking's bad for you, eat a bag. No, it's not. What they're trying to say is worry is bad. That worry is a bad thing. That if you're overthinking and you're worrying and it's triggering anxiety, but my own, I consider it's one of the reasons I'm such a great, extraordinary, and I'll say it, problem solver, business-wise and otherwise, is because I think the shit out of everything. Before every meeting, if this person says this, I'm going to say that. But if they say this, when I say that, I'm probably going to say this. The reason, let me think, if they say this, why would they say that? This is probably why they would say that when I say this. I mean, that's me. Is that bad? No. I am rarely ever caught off guard by anything. That's what makes me very, very good at figuring out problems, figuring out people, analyzing situations. I don't think it's necessarily bad because it's not causing me grief. It's not causing me grief. Overthinking that's causing you grief and anxiety and all the rest of that shit. Yeah, stop. Just stop. But if you're thinking deeply about something, don't let anyone tell you that's overthinking. Don't. Yeah, you think about, put yourself in other people's shoes. Well, when someone's even being a jackass, when someone's being obstinate, when someone's being an asshole, when someone's being a rejectionist in business or in life, I take the time to try to figure out why. I'm not just what an asshole. Oh, well, they just said no. That's a dead end. No, I'm why did they say no? Why did they reject that proposition? Why they was so hostile today? I take the time to think about why, and that helps me understand the situation better. And other people would be like, Bafangul them, but, Bafangul a total stranger, but, if I have any interest in that person as a human being, whether it's business relationship or personal, I'm going to take the time to think, why did someone behave like that or whatever? Because I actually care, I actually freaking care. I'm not so self-centered. I don't live in my own freaking head. Sometimes I live in other people's. Anyway, Alex, how you doing? Oh, you know what we got to talk about real quick? See, if she would have brought me another coffee, I'd probably be going another hour. We've been literally 3 hours. This is a 3-hour live. I think this is the longest live I ever freaking did. That creepy dude. What's your favorite coffee? Mine is. Oh, those are recommendations. I do like a French. My favorite coffee is anything Sumatra. Anything from Sumatra is my favorite coffee. Now, I'm going to have to start toning down my coffee intake in this heat because I get too hot. And I run hot anyway, but I get extra hot when I got a lot of coffee in me. So I'll be switching to liquid IV soon. I got to go buy some. I'll be switching over to the liquid IV activities soon. I'll probably temper some of my coffee with a little decaf to like keep the caffeine content, because caffeine and 120 degrees, not on Fridays, but caffeine and 120 degrees, not so much. I don't feel my best. I'm just like, ugh, hot. We do have to talk about Creepy Dude real quick. Let's talk about Creepy Dude on Wednesday. If anyone saw that live stream, at the end of the live stream, some weird-ass dude walked up to me and started talking shit. Just weird. He was, in my opinion, spiritually dirty, possibly spiritually corrupt. He might have been undercover homeless. There's a trend, and I mentioned it on Wednesday, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself. I do repeat myself a lot. Don't think I don't know I don't repeat myself a lot. I know it. I'm well aware of it. Because not everyone, there's new people here. So I will repeat myself knowing that there's more, like there's a crowd of regulars who probably heard the same story 20 freaking times already. It's not that I like repeating myself, but there's new people who don't know things like that. Okay. So he walks, so the undercover, I think it was undercover homeless, because there's a new trend in town for the homeless people who, they dress decent enough. They figured out that walking around in tatters will draw attention. I mean, some are just so mentally ill they don't mind the tatters, but the ones who are a little predatory, the ones who want to avail themselves of the air conditioning and other amenities, bathrooms and such, and fly under the radar, figured out that if you get an old pair of Dockers from, Goodwill or wherever, a halfway decent pair of sneakers or shoes, and a halfway decent shirt, you can blend in, because there's no dress code and people don't give a shit. So that is a trend lately that you'll see. Not every homeless person is walking around in tatters. This guy had, like Dockers or some such thing on it, and he had a polo shirt on, a white polo shirt, but it was inside out. He had a sticker, like a press and stick sticker, undercover homeless person. Unhoused. I hate that expression. Call people what they are. Don't rob them of the unhoused. No, you're homeless. Homeless people. So, and that allows them to, if I was, I'll be honest, if I was homeless, that's what I would do. That's why I get it. If I was homeless and I lived in Vegas, I'd want to spend as much time inside a casino as humanly possible. Let's face it. Freaking 120 degrees out there. 72 degrees in here. What do you would rather do? Live out in the street or try to spend as much time in a casino as I possibly could? I'd be trying to spend as much. I can't blame them for wanting that. But a lot of them bring their mental illness with them. And this guy not only had what I perceived as some mental illness, he had some I perceived some demonic shit from him. He walked up to me. I don't know if anyone caught this. He walked up to me and put his hand out. Like, he walked into the live stream. I don't know how much you could see, because I was focused on him, where his hands were, and making sure I wasn't going to be attacked. I mean, I didn't feel physically threatened by him. I felt, men being men, when we walk into a room, you know what most men do, ladies? If you're not doing this, guys, you probably should be. Like, you walk into a room, right? You walk into True Bar, and there's a bunch of other dudes. I could take him. I could take that guy. That guy, yeah, I could take him. This guy, I don't know. I'd probably have to do something crafty. I'd probably have to hit him up with this dinner plate. But ultimately, I'd probably take him. Like, am I the only one that sizes people up? And you guys do that. But anyway, sorry, I'm sizing this guy up. Maybe it's his old habits. I'm sizing him up. He doesn't really appear as a threat, but he spiritually, yeah. This is music getting louder and louder and louder for it. Anyway, he puts out his hand like this, and it was his right hand. He wanted to shake, and I wasn't prepared to do that. So what I did was I took my hand and put it on the outside of his hand, and I did that on purpose because I didn't want him to be able to grab my hand. Again, think about security. personal safety. I didn't want him to grab my hand, because if I shook his hand, if he had really bad intentions, he might have grabbed back, and we would. I did not want to have to fight this guy in the middle of a freaking casino. If I had to, I would have, but I didn't want to be in a position like that. So I placed my hand on the outside of his hand, and it's also a way for those of you who are remotely into martial arts called Chi Sao. You can sense people's energy. You know, Tai Chi uses it, Wing Chun uses it. So I wanted to put pressure, and I applied a little pressure to him to see if he would pressure back. You know, I was just like kind of feeling it. And you know what he said to me? He said to me, "You don't have a heart. Your heart is gone," he said to me. And I'm like, no, it's not. And that's what I said. No, I have a Mjolnir. That keeps my heart pumping. My heart's strong, I said to him. And he was, like the back of, I have kind of veiny hands and whatever. I'm kind of veiny overall. And he's like, "Oh, your heart is gone." That was his freaking, that was his demons, should I say, talking. "Your heart is gone." And then he's like, "You can't take my heart," he says to me. I was like, "What? I don't want your heart, bro." And we're having this little verbal joust about hearts and heart energy and whatever. Then he's like, "Come on, I'm gonna go buy you a drink." I was like, "I don't drink." And he's like, he wanted me to get up. He wanted me to get up and go with him. And then he was constantly trying to hold my hand. And that's when I started to feel like this was probably going to turn into some type of physical altercation. So I got up and I moved forward past him. Now, I didn't stand straight up. I was in motion and I went past him. Again, I didn't feel threatened by him, but I knew he was dark. He was just some dude, whatever. But I don't put anything past anyone. I had a constant eye on whether he was going in his pocket. That, like, I was analyzing that. I was being friendly. I was being jovial and, manner of fact and whatnot. But at the same time, everything about me was on freaking high alert. Like, I had my foot turned towards him, because the first thing I was going to do if he did anything was step on his foot to control his movement. Like everything, like a duck below water. I was in two phases. I was live, and the last thing I want to do is get into an altercation live. I honestly don't. There's no profit or benefit in that whatsoever. I would not want to be in that circumstance. I don't want to be in physical altercations anyway. I mean, I just don't. I used to do it for fun. It ain't fun. I just don't. And what profit is there in that? There's none. Just knowing I can defend myself is good enough. Just like, it's kind of like sex too. Sex with like a beautiful woman, or some women, or whoever, beautiful man. Just knowing you could is sometimes good enough. Do you have to go all the way through? Isn't sometimes just knowing you can enough? I mean, I think so. You gotta chew your arm off, make excuses to leave in the morning. Just knowing I could is enough. Sometimes that's enough satisfaction. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Just knowing you could's enough. Yeah, so then I got up, I rejected his drink offers or whatever. And then he did follow me. I sat down about 100 feet away. And then while I was talking to you, I saw him over my shoulder. And he was bumming a cigarette or a light off of someone else. And, he was focused on that dude now. And I decided, then I wrapped up the show. But I did talk to security after that. There was a security guard there, and I'm like, "Bro, that dude, blue Dockers, black shoes, semi-balding, inside-out polo shirt, says space on it. You might want to keep an eye on him, because he's not right. He's not right." Yeah. And he did. He got on his walkie-talkie. He didn't have to confront him, and it's not like that wasn't a wuss thing to do. because other people might not. Either someone's gonna bust them in the mouth, and if you see the messed up thing is, here's the messed up thing. No one wins. I did a video on it, and someone could attest to it personally. No one wins in a casino altercation, even if you are right. Alright, suppose this guy punched me in the arm. Suppose he punched me in the chest. Suppose he pushed me. Suppose he punched me in the face. Suppose he did something aggressive towards me, and I simply defended myself. I get excommunicado too. Even if there's an altercation in a casino, everyone is excommunicado. Everyone. It does not matter. I'm glad security was there. Everyone's excommunicado. You are not technically allowed to defend yourself in a property. Everybody gets 86th. So I do not want to have to defend myself in a property, because I am not going to be allowed back on that property either, because they don't want that shit. So you're technically not allowed to defend yourself on a property. So that's the other reason I don't want to go there. Just because he hit me first is no excuse. No, that does not hold any weight in the casino whatsoever. He hit me first. He pushed me. You're supposed to run. You're supposed to run. You're supposed to get out of the situation, There's no castle law in casino law. You are just supposed to take you're supposed to take that punch in the face and run away, and go find security. You cannot defend yourself. You can't restrain. Maybe you could block. If someone was throwing punch after punch after punch, you could probably block. But the minute you punch them back, or probably even blocking, they would be like, see ya, here's your paperwork, don't come back. So you do not want to be involved in an altercation. That's one of the reasons I do not want to be in an altercation in a casino, because I'll be 86 too. So why bother? So no. Alright, let me see the commentary. Let me see the commentary on Captain Frickin' Weirdo. 100% facts. Blackie, he probably, sizing up wise, he probably didn't. But, when people are, I can't say he's possessed. I think something in the Bible says you're not supposed to say that people are possessed. But had he been possessed, you don't know what people are capable of. You just don't know what people are capable of. A friggin', a plastic knife can still puncture your kidney. A filter of a cigarette lit on fire, smashed and sharpened on the rock, can still slit your throat. Nobody is immune to that. But that's what I was saying. That's why I kept if it came down to getting kicked out of a casino or getting poked by some crazy dude, I'll get kicked out of the casino. I'm gonna defend. I was thinking about it. If you go back there, you notice I manipulated my bag as a shield. Ain't my first rodeo. If the steak knife from the 99-cent stall was coming out, it was gonna freaking hit the bag. But that was an awkward, weird situation. The other thing I would say is thank you to everyone who checked up after. A lot of people reached out and were like, everything cool? Everything go? Because the guy did follow me. And why? It wasn't a wuss maneuver to talk to security. It was more me saying, I don't want to get into an altercation in the casino, and I feel that one's coming, and I think you should, intercede in this situation before it escalates to the point where I gotta clock this guy upside the frickin' head. That's just a wise thing to do. I don't consider that any type of wuss thing. Maria Ann says, when he started cozying up to me, I thought he was making advances. Yikes. I've had dudes hit on me. I ain't gonna say no. You know what? Honestly, I'm secure enough to say, I will say it. I don't swing in that direction. Not for me. If someone else is into, going that direction, good for you. I don't care. I really do not care. That's up to them. I don't judge that. That's whatever. It's none of my freaking business what you do in the bedroom and how you like to do it, who you want to do it. I got my own freaking kinks. Who freaking cares? I don't care. If it's with the same sex, I don't freaking care. That's your business. None of my business. Just don't make me change my language. And I gotta change my language and you identify as, and don't impinge upon my freedoms in order to make your point, because I don't give a shit. I don't care. As long as you're not trying to jam it down my throat, I don't care. But like if a guy's like, what's up, man? You looking good? And I know he's like hitting on me. It's the same thing as if a chick said it to me. I'm secure enough to say that. I don't think many men would admit that, but I'm not like, I'm going to punch that guy in the face or whatever. Why? Because he was like, hey, you looking good, bro? I mean, I know I don't swing that way, so what do I care? I go, thank you. I'm like, thanks, bro. What the actual F else am I going to say? No, that doesn't bother me. It's equally complimenting no matter what direction it comes from. We need more compliments in life, but that's all I'm saying. Glad he didn't try to steal nothing from me. That's for sure, bro. Yeah, I don't think it was hitting on me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mike K, you just never know. It's the weapons thing. I don't care who you are, how much you know, who you know, how big you are, how small you are, what kind of kung fu you know. That doesn't matter when weapons come out. And weapons could be anything. This is a weapon. In the grand scheme of things. You get clocked in the head with this, I don't care who you are, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna mess you up pretty good. Anyway. Alright, people. Let me just check fan funding. Let me see. What is the deal here? Let me thank Marianne for the 10, Mary for the 10, Ms. Google for the 20, and Joe, Lord of the Rings, for the 5. That effectively covers my parking. Thank you. That's all I can ask. That covers my parking. Alright. I mean, I'm not going to get it for a month, but it does cover my parking. So thank you. We will... Why was I saying we're going to do this on Monday? Wishing you a great night too, Jamie. Thank you. Yeah, that was a long... Missy Vegas, that was a long live stream. Holy cow. 3 hours and 15 minutes? I'm not ready to go yet. You had a boss one time say, a compliment is a compliment. There you go. A compliment is a compliment. I'm not going to... and if I say to a dude, like, hey, what are you wearing? Cologne, that doesn't mean I'm hitting on him either. I just don't give an actual F. If it smells good, I'm going to tell a dude. I don't care, Anyway. What am I wearing? I'm wearing, Eau de Mineral. And this morning I had some Awaken on. So it's a combination of the two. But in the heat, Tom Ford kind of changes. I back off to Tom Ford when it starts getting hot like this, because it does have a tendency to change in this extreme heat on me through the lens of my world. All right, I mentioned that Wednesday we were going to dive into the Elon Musk Trump thing. What the hell was I thinking? It's Friday. I meant Monday. Monday, we'll sit somewhere and we are going to delve into the whole thing. Because I'm sure more things will transpire by then. It's an interesting topic. Did we see it coming? I saw some of it coming. I knew Elon would have a reaction to getting his contracts pulled. I mentioned a long time ago, walking right past these Bellagio fountains over my shoulder back there, that Elon makes the majority of his money from government contracts. I said it, did I not? I did. The jury's out on him. Was finding $150 billion in shitty ass spending good enough for me? No, it was not. No, it was not. Find me $1 trillion, and then we'll talk. 150 million, and they'll probably give back 20, 30, 50, so 100 million. You think there's only 100 million in waste taking place, 100 billion in waste taking place in this country? Are you tripping? There's probably $1 trillion. We are going to get into that Monday. We might do it while we're walking. We might do a sit down. Probably not here. I'll find another place to sit and chill. Maybe even a local spot. I don't know. Well, we got people waving. I see you. I see you. I smiled. Oh my God. No, I laughed. That was not a smile. All right. So again, thank you for Super Chat activities. And if you're new, I'm going to invite you to like, share, subscribe. Hit the bell button to get notified when I do this again, which is at least currently changes 3 times a week. And if you just want to support the channel, all the stuff down there, maybe even, we got a money talk coming up too. Because we have to talk about what Mr. Powell over at the Federal Reserve, which has nothing to do with the federal government, basically he says, I'm not lowering interest rates until Trump is out of office. That's why the market's been kind of squirrely and tanking. Yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about that. Because that is... Anyway. So, I don't know if anyone sent any Cash Apps or Venmos, but if you did, I'm going to thank you because I don't get the notifications till later. And I do appreciate it. Chris, I really commend the handling of the situation when a stranger has a fixation and can't read social cues. Yeah, sometimes unhinged. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for everyone who had a question. I hope I did an adequate job of answering. I think Miss Google, I don't know if there's another question, because Miss Google, I do apologize if I didn't thoroughly answer your question. I will try to answer it on the next live stream. I just need a little more detail. That you're having a wedding party. I don't know if you needed a venue for the ceremony, a venue for the to eat afterwards, or something like that. I just want a little more detail to thoroughly answer that question, Miss Google. So I apologize for dancing around it. I just wanted some more info. So if you could get that to me, send me a message. You have my contact info. I will answer that for sure on the next one. Abso-freaking-lutely. And holy cow! Like 3.5 hours flew. It flew. Once I got that second cup of coffee, time. I'm in a temporal space, time, space, whatever. It does not freaking matter. And actually, I could have used another one. Had she, would have been a 5-hour. But she entertains. She does a good job of keeping people at the bar top, drinking and whatnot. And not just the dudes. She's very gracious. That's Mercedes. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button. Check out all my links down there. And thank you for the super chats. Thank you for all the stuff. And thank you for just hanging out. Making my Friday night. I'm going to go home, do some stuff. I'm going to eat some steak. I got to stop at Smith's on the way home. That's what I got to do. I feel the steak coming on. Love you guys. And on that note, we're good to go.